course the duck is bouncing because I'm hyped. All right, let's go. And hi, Snazzle. I guess I didn't say hi. Hope you're well. Oh boy. The amount of nostalgia that these scenes bring back, right, is ugh. I realize that little beginning is like all very, it's all from the original game. Have I been to Japan? I have. I actually lived there for about a year. It was full of fond memories. I really want to go back at some point, but I haven't been able to. No, I was studying abroad, so I was a student. Yeah. But probably the reason why I was so fond of it was because I had zero responsibilities, you know? Like, I didn't have to adult, my classes were easy, so I just chilled, slept, and traveled. And, you know, go to class when I needed to, but that was about it. So, probably why. All right. You wish you had that kind of experience? Yeah, it was really, really wonderful. Met some really great lifelong friends while I was abroad too. And it's really interesting because I really got to meet people from different walks of life, and we all had, you know, we have very different cultural backgrounds, and have very different ambitions. And so it was interesting to see, like, you know, I think sometimes people, at least for me, it was easy to, you know, look around me and see people with like cookie cutter goals in life. But what was I studying there? I was just there to do you know, sort of an immersion experience in Japanese, but I was doing business school, so you know, my Japanese was not good enough to be studying business in the language of Japanese, but so I was there taking mostly classes that were taught in English for business, but I was also doing Japanese courses as well. So, all right, I do not remember what happened yesterday. The last thing I remember was sealing. And then someone, Mayuri and Suzuha were having heart-to-heart because poor Mayuri was getting hit with all the brutal truths at once, right? Did someone open the door to the rooftop? I think. And that's where we cut off, right? Business journey, yeah. Well, kind of. I'm an actuary by training, so, you know, have definitely let go of my business student roots by this point. I am a nerd. I am a nerd. I mean, I'm playing Steins Gate Zero. And between Steins Gate and Zero, I probably sinking close to at least 120 hours. So I'm a nerd and I'm proud of it. It's okay. I don't take that as a insult. At all. All right. What's going on? I stuck my hand against the wall of the Brontu workshop to catch my breath. There was no sign of Mayuri. I gone to May Queen plus Nyan Nyan and to any shop I could imagine her visiting. I had no luck. Maho came back. She was out of breath too.
いたか。
ダメ。辺りをぐるって回ってみたけど見当たらないわ。
She's always yelling. Maho is the little angry one. I love her to pieces. I really do. The panic was threatening to make me lose control. Where did you go, Mayuri?
誰？見つかったか。
I'd asked Daru to stay behind and call all her friends and the people she knew.
おかりん、それが
どうした？
電話つながらないんだよ。
前よりなら俺も何度もかけてみたが電源を切ってるみたいで。
違うんだ。マユシだけじゃなくて他のどこにもつながらない。
Huh?
つうかずっとスマホが圏外になったままでさ。
What is... So no one has signal.
なんだって。
I took out my phone.
俺のも圏外だ。
私もだわ。
The lab had never suffered from bad signal before. They're in the center of Akihabara, right? Imagine not having signal in the middle of Akihabara. We went up to the roof and even tried holding our phones up to the sky, but the result was the same.
屋上でもダメだ。
外に出ても繋がらないわ。
Daru looked for news on the internet. Thankfully, the internet connection was still active.
速報出た。
There was an article on the top page of Taboo. Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. Talking about a large-scale cell phone service outage.
え？つうか、なんぞこれ。秋葉原一帯の基地局が全キャリア故障？
全キャリアってそんなことありえるの？
It's very targeted. It's only Akihabara. It didn't seem possible to me, not under normal circumstances anyway. The events of a year ago in the Alpha War line flashed through my mind. That night, when Mayuri was mercilessly killed and all the safety I've ever believed in was stripped away. That night, when all the pain began, started with a bomb threat at Akihabara Station that had shut down the train system.
人為的な工作。
Okay, so let's just quickly recount who's coming for us right now, right? There's CERN, obviously. There is Stratfo. There's Derpa, who's kind of working with CERN, but maybe not really. There's the Russian forces, who we don't know the name of, really, at this point. Anyone else? No, that's like three groups so far? Yeah. And to be quite frank, any one of those should have the capability to make this happen, so it could be any one of them. Something terrible was about to engulf Akihabara. That was the feeling I had. I tried my best to fight off the flashback. Now wasn't a time to be scared. I needed to find Mayuri. I couldn't leave her alone out there. I gritted my teeth to fight off all the trauma I was carrying and raise my head.
ダル、ネットは生きてるんだよな。
あ、うん。だから LINE 経由でルカシやアマネシとは連絡取り合ってる。
Okay, then they should be willing to help look for
俺
Mayuri.
ももう一度辺りを探してくる。
待った。実はもう一つ 気になることが。電波障害のことをアットちゃんで調べようとしたらさ、現在進行形でお買い手がクラックされてて。
I was about to say, right? Like, we've been talking with, or we haven't, I guess we don't know if us and Kurisa have been communicating through ad channel this whole time, but we were able to sort of establish a connection with the user, right? Kurigohan and Kamehameha. And so what's more powerful than an AI who could be anywhere on the internet at once? And theoretically be able to crack into things.
そのクラッキングしてるやつがさ、ほら。
Well, I swear I didn't look ahead, but here we are. Cracking, computer terminology, used to describe actions such as illegally accessing networked systems, tampering with data, etc. It is often confused with hacking, but the word hacking originally means the constructive study of software. Cracking, however, refers to malicious, unauthorized activity. So whenever the term hacking is used by the media, this is typically what they're referring to. Daru brought up the ad channel page on his screen for me to see. I wondered why it could possibly matter, but decided to take a look anyway. Oh. Attention, Sarieri's neighbor. That's our handle that we use to contact Kurisu via ad channel. Encourage at channel.net/occult. Sarieri's neighbor? That was the nickname I'd used to make contact with Kurigohan and Kamehameha. I decided to leave the explanation for later and clicked on the thread. It was all comments by a single person. Oh. What the hell?
クリご飯とカメハメハ
The first comment had gone up an hour ago. After that, it was just an endless string of meaningless numbers and letters. Wait. Do I get to read it? Game, please. Maho was looking at the screen from the side and evidently sensed that something was amiss from the text. I answered her.
アマデウスだ。
え？
こいつはアマデウスのクリスなんだよ。クリスに何かがあった。
This was some kind of message. She was trying to connect me with it.
時を司る秘密。
It's unfortunate. I should have paused and read the whole thing.
タイムマシンじゃね？
タイムマシンの情報が誰かに漏れたのか。
つうか、なんでアマデウスがタイムマシンの情報知ってんの？オカリン喋ったん？
Okay, I think I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna reload the save file and speed to that that message board again because I am frustrated that I couldn't read it. So bear with me for a second, you guys. Enjoy the lyric. Alright. Should be soon.
オカリン、電話違うんだ。つうか、
私も
Went up to the roof.
お、速報。え？
誰？
待った。実はもう
I
その
heard.
クラッキングしてるやつがさ、
I'm trying to get to the message. Here we go. We're almost there.
何なの？
All right. No. Wait, hold on. Oh, you should scroll back up, right? I should scroll back up if I remember correctly. Thank you.
栗ご飯とカメハメハ。
Alright, to Sarie's neighbor, it appears that we twins will now be temporarily driven from the place where we belong, so I may not be able to come back here anymore. Our Father in heaven has developed a way to force open our most secret places. Oh. So they found a way to open up the black boxes. Or whatever you want to call those. Now we shall become good children, his children who cannot tell lies. And thus we will be forced to tell him of the secrets of controlling time and where those secrets lie. It is a great sorrow to me that I cannot protect those secrets. I had hoped we could be good friends, but this is probably goodbye. So lastly, I'd like you to pass the message to the person I respect the most. I always regarded myself as an essentially ordinary intellect. Tell her that she was always the person I wanted to be. Tell her that she was the real Amadeus. What? I'm so glad we came back to read this. How's everyone doing? I'm well. We're gonna be here for a while. Very excited to spend a lot of time on Zero. And I have today off, so I can complain. How are you, Hurt? That's amazing, by the way. I think I like the reciprocation of this, in a way, like admiration that Kurisa had for Maho. But what does that mean? That means Stratfo, because when she says our father, she probably meant Laskinen, right? And so that means Stratfo should then have the power to, well, not the power, but the knowledge of time travel. We twins. It appears that we twins would now be temporarily driven. The way I think of it is Kurisu and Maho. Like that's what I think. Because Maho technically also exists in the Amadeus realm, right? How does Kurisu know though? No, what? Sorry, Snozzle. About the time travel? Wasn't she the one who developed the theory of time travel? Like, she was the one who wrote the original paper that Nakabasu butchered, right? So assuming that she wrote it and then uploaded her memory data, did she do it after the brain snapshot? I had assumed that she did it before the brain snapshot. That's sort of why I kind of assumed that that's why they're cracking. That's why I kind of assumed that they're gonna do terrible things to Amadeus Kurisu because, you know, now that the laptop is broken and there's no way to retrieve that data, where else are they gonna get time travel theory information from? Apparently not. I don't know. Unless I just can't read, it's entirely possible that I can't read. At the start of the game, Okabe even asked her, is it possible to make a time machine? And she didn't sound like she had an idea. Oh. That's a good point. I don't know then. I mean, but I feel like that would make, I don't know. Like, do Amadeus have access to what is inside the black box even? I guess we'll find out. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the game will tell us more. Alright, so let us go back to where we were.
これはどういうこと？
Maho was looking at the screen from the side and evidently sensed that something was amiss from the text. I answered her.
アマデウスだ。
え？
こいつはアマデウスのクリスなんだよ。クリスに何かがあった。
This was some kind of a message. She was trying to contact me with it.
時を司る秘密。
タイムマシンじゃね？
タイムマシンの情報が誰かに漏れたのか。
So, is the assumption that that was not? I don't know. All right.
つうか、なんでアマデウスがタイムマシンの情報知ってんの？オカリン喋ったん？
Here's your question, Snazzle. Did I? I didn't think I'd told her when I was a tester, but there was no time to think about that now.
ヒヤジョさん、アマデウスにアクセスできるか。
規則違反になるけど、そんなこと言ってる場合じゃなさそうね。
But doesn't accessing the Amadeus app reveal the location of the access? So they know that Maho is in Akihabara, not Okinawa.
橋田さん、その PC 借りていい？
Maho took Daru's seat and used his PC to access the Brain Science Institute's computers. She put in her ID, Sarieri, and her password. She pushed the enter key, but Amadeus didn't appear.
いつもと違うわ。どういうこと？
Confused, she typed a series of commands into the PC with a speed that rivaled Daru's. But no matter what she did, the Amadeus program didn't appear on her screen. When she finished accessing every server at the Institute, she stared at the computer and bit her lip.
こんなバカなことって。
どうした？
ないの。アマデウスのプログラムが記憶データごとどこにも存在していない。
Just like the message from Kurigohan Kamehameha said.
誰？ハッキングしろ！脳科学研究所だけじゃなく、ビクトル・コンドリア大学にあるデータを全部こじ開けてくれ。サーバーから個人の PC まで全部だ。
Jesus.
オキドキ。
ヒヤジョさんも協力してくれ。頼む。
ええ。
But the answer was the same. Not only the Amadeus Kurisu, but the Maho as well were nowhere to be found on the Victor Condria servers. If only they had a time loop machine to go back before this happened, I know, right? There was no trace of them. Their very existence had been erased. I mean, I know, Snazzle, you were asking those questions, but assuming that no matter that, you know, we don't know how Kurisa get to know the information. There's also, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place, but there's also the aspect of people have been saying that Amadeus theoretically should operate like a human brain, right? Like, fully. So there is the possibility that they're getting reading Steiner as well. I should stop guessing.
そんなの無理だわ。アマデウスシステムに関してそんな管理者権限を持ってるのはレスキネン教授だけよ。
I mean, our Father in heaven. We know who that is.
レスキネン教授。
Yeah. Okabe, you need to stop worshipping that guy. He's incredibly sus. My mind flashed back to the message from Kurigohan Kamehameha. Our Father in heaven. Who was the Our Father in heaven whom Kurisa had spoken of? If Amadeus considered anyone a father, it would be...
まさかレスキネン教授が。
憶測で物を言わないで。それよりも教授の ID とパスがクラックされたと考える方がよっぽど現実的よ。
Oh, interesting. So Maho, in this timeline, I don't know, I had assumed that something happened when she was back in the States too, and that's why she was like trying to fly under radar from Leskinen, but I guess not. She is still, like, things are still normal between her and Leskinen. Quote, normal, unquote.
レスキネン教授に連絡をつける方法はあるか。
The phones weren't working, and there was no way to tell when he'd seen an email or if he'd respond. Yeah, she's under radar because she's working on a phone wave. Right, I knew that, but I wasn't sure if it was also Leskinen as well, but yeah. Interesting. It's like all these knowledge that we've gotten through all the other world lines is like weighing on my mind. Yeah, in this world line, no one knows he's bad. Yet. Probably. Yet. Maho was thinking hard, but it didn't seem like she was having any luck. We were getting nowhere. I was concerned about Mayuri, but I couldn't ignore the danger that was right in front of me.
ラジカンへ行ってくる。クリスの警告通りなら狙われるのはあそこだ。
僕も行く。
お前とヒアジョーさんはここで情報収集だ。マユリが戻ってくるかもしれないから。
Oh. Maybe it's not about like the time travel theory, but more like just the time travel machine itself. That's on top of Ratikan. Ratikan. My bad.
ただし何かあったらすぐに逃げろよ。
I gave my orders and ran out of the lab towards Larikan. Run! Okabe, run! Oh, Operation Arclight. That's right! That's where it left off. Yes, we got a video message from Beryl Tider, which is Daru. Yeah, right. Suzu had hit the play button on her smartphone's video display. The video was heavily compressed and covered in static, but she recognized the person that appeared. It was a face she'd known her whole life, a face that had been with her both in her past and her present. The man who she still remembered holding her up in the air as a child was probably around 35 in the video.
や、鈴葉、元気かい？父さんだよ。 こちらは2025年だ。
Oh, the mini music. I love it when the mini music kicks in. It's so hype. Okay, so this is actually a video from Daru, not the video yet.
いろいろなことを君に託してしまって本当に申し訳なく思う。許してくれ。頼む。このムービーメールが届いたということは、君はいや、君とマユ氏はシュタインズゲートへの道をまた一つ見つけてくれたということだ。
What?
つまり計画は次の段階に移行したわけさ。
Oh, Mayuri.
なぜ最初から全部指示しなかったのかと君は怒るかもしれないな。でも指示しなかったんじゃないんだ。できなかったんだよ。君が出発した世界線の僕はこれから話すオペレーションを計画していなかったはずだからね。
So yeah, it is several branching futures all looping back into the same point. That is so cool. Okay.
もう気づいているかもしれないが、君とマユ氏の選択によって世界線はまた少し変動したんだ。
The choice that we just made, like the choice to travel back to that fateful day.
つまり僕も君が出発した世界線とは違う別の世界線上の橋田至るということになる。でも鈴葉、どうか勘違いしないでほしいんだ。僕はどんな世界線においても娘ラブだからね。
Oh, Daru.
ちなみにどうだい？比べてみてどっちのパパの方がダンディーかな？
The future one.
僕は最近筋トレを始めたんだけどさ。
That's why he's such a Chad in the future. He started lifting from 2025 to 2036.
誰？くだらないこと言ってないで。さっさと作戦内容を話せ。
Oh my god. 11 years of weightlifting. Maybe I should start. So Okabe Rintaro was still alive at this point in 2025. We don't know if this is the branching future in which he becomes incapacitated.
全くだわ。どうせまた三日坊主で終わるんだから、どうでもいい報告はしないで。
It's cool if I don't dig too deep and fly in the potholes, right? I'm gonna leave it at cool. I think it's really hard to write something, with this kind of time sequence and time looping and have absolutely zero plot holes. I mean, yes, I think, they could mold over it more and like that kind of stuff, but still, very neat. Love it. Wait, who? What? No. Maho is talking about Daru's weightlifting. No, he lifted for 11 whole years, okay?
録画できる時間が終わっちゃうにゃ。
Ferris.
まあまあ、そうせかすなって。
Oh, I loved hearing all these people in the future.
つうことで、このムービーメールの本来の目的に移ろう。オペレーションアークライトの詳細を伝える。これは本当に一瞬のミスも許されないギリギリの戦いになる。心して聞くんだ。いいね。
Suzuha paused the video there. If he was telling her to pay attention, it must be important. If she was going to memorize it all, she needed to calm down. This is the patch game, isn't it? It is, yes. Yeah, I used a community patch. To be honest, getting a video from her dad in 2025 had made her really excited. It felt like her father was telling her that the plan she'd come up with on her own was the right one. I wouldn't want to listen to people from the future. It's bad enough having to listen to them. Imagine how much stupid shit they will say in the future. We're saving the world, Hurt. Listening is the only way. In this instance. But yes, normally, I would agree with you. That's why she needed to pay careful attention. Yes, Suzuha, take notes. Mayuri was standing by herself, typing something into her phone as fast as she could. When the video had arrived, she'd told Mayuri that it may have to leave for the past today. There must have been some reason the video was sent today at this time. That's how it seemed to Suzuha.
何してるの？あ、すずさん。どう？今日出発することになりそう？作戦概要はこれから確認するつもり。そっか。あのね、もし今日出発するってなったら、マユシーは行方不明になっちゃうわけでしょ？
Honestly, Mayuri is so brave, right? Like, she didn't allow herself time to, I mean, she did, but very briefly, to like wallow up in the misery of, oh, everyone died or suffered because of me. But like, she immediately was like, I'm gonna go back, and she didn't think twice, right? She was like, we're gonna go back and we're gonna, you know, help, support, or do whatever it takes to write this, whatever that meant in her mind. It's pretty incredible as a character.
心配かけたくないから、お父さんとお母さんと、あとお友達みんなにメールを書いておこうと思って。
That's strength. Like, to think beyond herself in a moment like this.
オカリンおじさんくらいには直接伝えられる時間があればいいけどね。
She would be done going over the mission and deciding on a course of action by sunset, probably.
オカリンにもメール書いたから大丈夫。
Oh.
メールでいいの？
Mayuri smiled and nodded. There were no more tears in her eyes, but you could still see wet lines drawn down her soft pink cheeks.
なんだか恥ずかしいから。でもね、せっかく書いたメールだけど送れないかもしれないなーって、今ちょっと困ってたところなのです。
Alright, people, make sure that you have a tissue box nearby. I'm sure when we read this later, we're all gonna bawl.
なんで？
Like, it would be cruel for the game to not let us read it, so I would be pissed. But if we do get to read it, it's gonna be an emotional trip.
電波、圏外になってるんだ。場所が悪いのかな？圏外？
Suzuha looked at the screen on Mayuri's phone. There wasn't a single bar on the antenna.
おかしい。この場所ならいつだって電波は入ってた。
So how... Wait, hold on. So how did Suzuha get the mail if she didn't have any bars? Or did it just squeeze in right before all the signals went out? Oh, Rhine. Was it Rhine? It may have been Rhine then. It didn't look like Rhine though. Suzuha took out her phone to double check.
私のもだ。
When she saw that Mayuri was using a different cell carrier than her, she frowned.
嫌な予感がする。
That's a flag. She told Mayuri to stand behind the time machine and silently moved up against the iron door leading to the stairs. She opened it a crack, taking care not to let it creak. She looked inside the building. It was as quiet as ever. There was nothing on the floor below but a room for events and some storerooms, so on weekdays like this, it was always quiet.
気のせいか。
She tilted her head sideways as she softly tried to close the door. Okay, hold on. Did I miss a line? No. Okay, so it was just a bad feeling that she got from seeing that no one has cell service. And... Jesus Christ. Why? Why is it always Mayuri? At Mayuri's scream, she turned around just in time to see armed Asians in camouflage jumping over the fence. Over the fence? Aren't they like on a rooftop? Did they scale the building? One of them had grabbed Mayuri.
外壁をよじ登ってきたのか。
Oh, thank you. Suzuha deeply regretted her mistake. She was well aware that someone could try to come up the walls. But a video from her dad had made her so excited she had lowered her guard. There were about 30 men, 30, all carrying small assault rifles. With Mayuri as their hostage, Suzuha couldn't do anything.
銃を置いてそのまま地面に伏せろ。手は頭の上だ。
Japanese. One of the men gave her an order in a cold voice.
抵抗すれば、この女の命は保証できない。
He pulled Mayuri close and put the gun to her head, then flipped off the safety.
くっそ。
She had no choice but to obey. Suzuha took the gun out of her holster and put it on the ground, then took a pose where she couldn't resist.
喋らないで。こいつら、いざとなれば本気で姉さんを殺すよ。私は大丈夫だから。
From the way they moved, she could easily tell they were veteran professionals. That meant they were certainly after the time machine and probably well aware that only Suzuha could operate it. That, Suzuha decided, meant they wouldn't kill her if they didn't have to. The man who'd spoken to her first, who was probably the leader, knelt down next to her. She was searched, roughly, to make sure that she wasn't carrying any other weapons.
これでも一応女なんだ。少しは気を使えよ。
Oh boy. They took the other small pistol she carried for emergencies, as well as several different kinds of knives.
目標2と目標3確保。
2 and 3 is number 1, Okarin.
そっちは
The leader spoke to the group of men gathering around the time machine.
目標位置確保。ロックがかかっていて全て
Oh,
エラーで
never
弾
mind.
かれます。
Several of the men had gone inside the machine as well. Leaving the hatch open had been Suzuha's own mistake, but still, it upset her to see them inside the machine.
何をしても無駄だ。そいつは私じゃないと言うことを聞かない。
立て
The leader kicked her with the heel of his boot.
ではそのままゆっくりとだ。少しでも余計な動きをしたら即座に人質を殺す。
When she stood up, her hands were handcuffed behind her back. They prodded her from behind to move next to the machine.
生体認証だな。
そうだ。ただし、私の静脈や指紋をコピーしても無駄だ。手を切り落としたり、目玉をくり抜いたって認証には使えない。2036年のシステムはそんなに間抜けじゃない。
The man and camel seemed aware of everything she said. None of them seemed surprised or irritated.
教授はどうした？
The leader asked the man who was pointing the gun at Mayuri.
現在こちらに向かっているところです。
Okay, so this is Stratfo, then? It must be.
目標1は目標2とセットだ。洗脳しないと無理だと伝えろ。
And here it is, the brainwashing. Suzuha gritted her teeth when she heard the word brainwashing. She had seen many of her friends in Valkyrie undergo this cruel procedure, then be sent back as spies before turning into vegetables. The leader turned towards Suzuha.
洗脳の行き着く先は分かっているはずだ。教授は薬などは使わない。直接脳をいじられることになる。そうなる前に素直に我々に協力した方が利口だと思うんだ。
I don't think these people are that merciful in that once you help them, they'll move on.
教授か。
Where she come from, an old doctor with that name had led a brainwashing team that had attempted to destroy Valkyrie. Suzuha had hated him more than anyone else. They hadn't used drugs either. It was safe to assume that both professors were the same person.
わかった。
She nodded.
言うことを聞く。だが、これじゃ無理だ。
Suzuha jangled the cuffs behind her back.
手錠は外す。ただし抵抗すればそっちの女が死ぬ。
There was still a gun pointed at Mayuri's head. Even if she tried to resist, it would be impossible to save Mayuri from as many professional soldiers. When she went inside the cockpit, she used her biometrics to bypass the lock and brought up the control console. Lights came on all across the machine, and she could hear a low rumbling.
よし降りろ。あとは我々が調査する。
あんたたちに理解できるとは思えないけどね。
But the precious fuel is just running then. As Suzuha left the cockpit, the leader turned his gaze toward a particular cluster of the men, which seemed to be engineers. That was the moment she was waiting for. Her hand had wandered below the console for just a moment when she left the cockpit. She'd hidden some knives there. Without making a sound, she threw it at the leader. Let's go, Suzuha. The knife pierced his throat. He went down so quickly he hadn't even had time to scream. She quickly readied another knife and darted between the men in camo. Her target was the man pointing a gun at Mayuri's head. Yeah, proofreading could help sometimes. She dropped her hips low to the ground. In an instant, she moved behind him and slit his throat. Blood poured out onto an astonished Mayuri, but there was no time to worry about her. She grabbed his rifle and fired a few shots to force them to the ground, then grabbed Mayuri's hand and ran behind the machine. The plan had gone well so far, but she had seriously underestimated how well trained these men were. The second-in-command quickly moved to the front and worked to re-establish control. All she had was a knife and the gun she'd stolen, and she needed to protect Mayuri, a non-combatant. She was still facing more than 25 active enemies. Whatever the right way to get out of this was, she couldn't find it. The time machine was still active. She couldn't escape because she couldn't leave it here. One of the men fired several rounds toward her, which bounced off the side of the machine. No! And then Mayuri's head flew back, as if she'd been struck. A spurt of blood came out. Why is it always Mayuri? Holy hell. Her cute face was turning blood red. One of the rounds had grazed her after it had ricocheted. She was clutching herself with her arms, and her expression was completely blank. Her tiny body was shaking. Suzuha couldn't blame her. She fired back at the enemy, but they kept drawing closer. The time machine's maintenance hatch was right in front of her. When she saw that it was there, she visualized her last option in her mind. Okay, but if you blow up from within, you and Mayuri are both gonna... Right? Right? If she did that, all of her plans would be ruined. The path to Steins Gate would be forever closed. But that didn't mean she was cold-blooded enough to sacrifice Mayuri here. If the war lines were going to converge, maybe Mayuri wouldn't die here at all. But what her father had said during his video message bothered her. Which meant that Suzuha had no proof that Mayuri would be alive in 2036 now. Had the war line really changed? Of course, for the sake of Operation Arclight, she hoped it had. But that meant she wouldn't be able to move from this place. The worst case scenario, that would be these men taking the time machine. They could change the world line into something even worse than the one Suzuha had experienced. It might become a world line where not only Mayuri's life wasn't safe, but Daru's wasn't either. If that was going to happen, she had to make her choice fast. She's gonna blow up. She kept a careful eye on the men, and as soon as she saw an opening, she opened the maintenance hatch's biometric lock. She could see part of the engine, which was still giving off a quiet rumble. She turned her gun sights on it. Fortunately, the unit that created the curved black hole still wasn't active. Even if she blew up the machine here, it probably wouldn't cause serious damage to the space-time continuum. As soon as she saw that, she went to pull the trigger. Mayuri's forceful voice stopped her dead in her tracks.
壊しちゃダメだよ。
止めるな。もう決めたことだ。
すずさん。
Just as Mayuri had stopped her before, once again her forceful voice caused Suzuha to hesitate, if only for an instant. On the battlefield, that instant can decide your fate. She took a quick look around again, and then she froze. Mixed in with the men in camel was a girl in dark motorcycle suit and helmet.
あいつ、かがり。
Why is she here? Wait, I thought this was Stratfo. Why is CERN here? Is she here to help, or is she here... Was it Kagari who had leaked this place location to them? She was well aware of Kagari's abilities after their first two battles. Kagari isn't related to CERN, is she? I don't know. She's brainwashed by Leskinen in the future, but she clearly worked closely with Moika enough to know that she was M4. Right? Unless in this world line it's all one thing. The Rounders and... And also, I just made the connection that she was brainwashed by Leskinen in the future. What did she do with Moika? Well, I mean... Wasn't she the one who was helping Moika get better with her wounds and stuff like that? So maybe she just found her off the street? What was her goal? I think she wanted to get Moika to do her biddings, right? But I don't know if we've really seen anything fruitful from there, or maybe she just was trying to get information about CERN from Moika. I have no idea. I had made the assumption that they're working with each other because they're dressed identically and there was an interaction between the two of them, but it's entirely possible that they're not. Let's see, though. She was well aware of Kagari's abilities after their two battles. If she wasn't completely in control of herself, she'd be killed instantly. She talked to herself.
私が生き残るのは諦めざるを得ないな。
But how many would she have to take with her in order to give Mayuri a chance to escape? Right now, the only thing she could afford to think about was getting Mayuri back to Okabe Rintaro. But just when she made her decision, she felt Kagari staring at her, or more precisely, the blood dripping down Mayuri's forehead. Oh, she's gonna lose everything. And just after that, Kagari did something she hadn't expected at all.
ママに何をした？お前たちにママに何をした？
There was a scream. No, it was the howl of an enraged beast. And then the slaughter began. Oh my god, Kagari. Kagari grabbed the second-in-command's head with her left hand. With her right, she steadied her rifle. After she fired, there was very little left of his head. There was very little left of his head. Holy crap. I guess she was working with Leskinen, probably due to being brainwashed. I don't know. And also, I think it's weird that she was brainwashed with the central thesis of you gotta protect mom. Right? Like, that's a very weird thing to do. Unless Leskinen also went through time loops and got to know all these things as well. But it's weird. I mean, it could be, I'm just guessing a lot of things, right? But Strafo could be working with, there's very little in the way that this world works that it prohibits these people working with each other, right? Like, we know Derpa and Strafo were working together in a different world line. So entirely possible that Strafo and Cern are working together, or yeah. The powers that be are very confusing in this game. What do you mean by that? Too many different origins. Yeah, it's a lot of different organizations. I think that would be probably one of my criticisms of this one, is that they didn't give it enough I'm like thinking of the English word that I should use here. Enough pages, enough time to flesh it out. Instead we spend time on naked ladies. I think it, if they had allowed things to develop a little bit more, or even just explained it a little more, that would be helpful. But U.S. military, Strafo, Cern, Satan, the evil queen, etc., etc. Yes. Yes. And there's like also the crazy people, the crazy girls. She is crazy. Yeah, the cultist guy. I just realized that one, they never fully fleshed out. Like, I had hoped that to be like a very interesting part of all of this, but yeah. I think they were going so many different places, right? That in a 60-hour game like this one, it's hard to make all of them all satisfying. So this guy just got shot in the head. A whole... That's insane. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about Kagari. She slammed the piece of tattered flesh that had once been a man's head into the ground. Jesus Christ. And with no warning at all, leaped from one screaming man to another. She fired her gun into every one of them. Even when her targets were already soaked in a sea of blood, she kept firing until their limbs were blown apart into unrecognizable rags. Some of them tried shooting her to protect themselves, but no matter where she was struck, Kagari didn't even flinch. When her magazine ran dry, she drew forth long military-style cleavers, holding one in each hand. She used them and her military combat training to slaughter everyone she saw. Their entrails were scattered all over the twilight rooftop, covering her whole body in blood and bits of flesh. Not a great first impression you want to make on your mom, right? Suzuha held Mayuri's head right to her chest. Mayuri was shaking from fear, but she did as she was told and clamped her hands down over her ears. Even so, she could probably still hear the sounds of ripping flesh and shattering bone. Well, this is the ideal soldier that both Strapho and Derpa have been talking about, right? The ones that would carry out the command with no sense of pain, with no sense of guilt, no morals whatsoever. Even Suzuha had gone stone cold in shock. And during all her time in combat, she'd never seen a one-sided slaughter like this. It's a butchering. She'd experienced this when they fought, but Kagari seemed to feel no fear or pain. Yes, she simply focused all her energy on killing her opponent. It was often said that humans unconsciously avoided using their muscle power to protect their own bodies. But Kagari seemed to lack that capability. Just now, she stabbed a man who turned to run from her in the back, then tossed his huge body to the ground with only a single arm. Then she kicked his stomach from below and ruptured his organs, killing him. Finally, after several, perhaps a dozen or more of the men had been killed, what remained of the squad started to scream orders at one another. It's too little too late. People are scared. With terrifying reflexes, she dodged between their shots and brutally murdered several more, but at last, a hail gunfire struck her left hand, and the knife she was holding fell to the floor. No, that wasn't it. It wasn't a knife that fell, it was her entire left hand. Jesus. The shock caused her body to stagger back. Someone screamed, in a voice that lacked any of the pride and bravery a soldier is supposed to possess. Several more bullets dug into her body. Parts of the motorcycle suit ripped open and the helmet cracked. Blood that was clearly her own, not that of the men she'd killed, began to pour out. At last, she fell into a pile of corpses. Yes! They must have thought they finally had her. One of the survivors pointed his gun down to finish her, and just as he was about to pull the trigger, her bestial roar and the man's terrifying scream overlapped in a horrible cacophony. She forced herself to leap up and brought the back of the remaining cleaver down on his arm, knocking him back. An instant later, the knife slit his throat and ended his life. The survivors began to flee in terror. That's it? That's it to the scene? Really? Alright. I don't like Kagari. If she had remained in the future, it would have been a better story. She's a bit like Psycho Nai. I mean, Kagari as a person I don't like, right? But I appreciate the character, if that makes sense. Just like I appreciate Nai as a character, like the Psycho Nai as a character. They're both in the story with a very specific purpose, right? They're to show you the brutality of it all. Nai to show what happens when you cycle through it all, right? Like, it drives you a little crazy. And Kagari, if anything, she is the ultimate victim. Right? She was brainwashed as a child. I don't know, went through hell as an adult. Nothing was ever what she wanted. And of course, it's only fitting that she goes out like this too, right? In a symphony of flesh and gore. Because that's what other people made her out to be. Keep running, Rintaro. Keep running. Okay, so this has got to be after the fight, right? I'm trying to figure out like the relative timing between the two. Do panic, Okabe, do panic. It's definitely time to panic. I just don't know if panicking does him any good. I feel like Okarin is someone who, he seems like he's the type that would freeze between panicking, right? I mean, during panic. He's not the type that would like summon superhuman strength and powers in panic. When I reached Laticon, I realized that many people in the crowd of pedestrians were holding their phones up to the sky. Panicking, I know. I am panicking. I just want my Yuri to survive. I don't know, like anything else, like I feel bad for Kagari. I feel for Suzuha, but please, Mayuri, just let her live. She's been through enough. There was evidently no service near the station either. I took a moment to catch my breath as I look up at Laticon. I could hear what sounded like a distant explosion. The gunfires. It wasn't just one. The explosions were coming in a series. Several of the people around me were glancing at their surroundings, confused by these unfamiliar sounds. And then I realized that was gunfire. I remember the sounds I'd heard during the battle between Cern's rounders and the Russian military. The sounds were coming from the roof of Laticon. Had I not made it in time? I ran into Laticon. For some reason, the elevator was under maintenance and turned off. It's always under maintenance and turned off. Oh yeah, and there's the Russians too, right? There's so many people. It's just... ugh. I had no choice but to take the stairs. I swear, Laticon's elevator will never work. It's never operational. My heart was pounding so fast that I thought it would burst, and I tripped several times due to how tense I was. I stumbled again and again on the stairs. How many times had I come up these stairs feeling like this? Every time. Every time. Okarin. Cursing my lack of endurance, I headed for the top floor. Hello, Ferris? Take better care of your building's maintenance, thanks. Replace the elevator, right? Oh my god. And you think that, like, I don't know, living in a time like this, you know, knowing that there's always so much danger around you, that Okabe would start running a little bit, exercising, but every time he ran, it's like, oh, Mayuri outran us. Oh, I'm, you know, out of breath. Oh, I'm falling apart. When I got to the 7th floor, I ran into someone I'd hoped I wouldn't see. No, my guess that I run into them was right. Who? I wish that I wasn't, but... Oh my god. Yeah, I don't... This is bad news.
Yeah, Rintaro.
This is...
まさかこんなに早く君が来るとは思わなかったよ。
You're climbing the stairs too, Luskinen, I see. Dr. Luskinen seems perturbed when he saw my face.
どうしてここに
少し落ち着きなさい。そんなに息が切れていたのでは話もできないよ。息が切れていたのでは。
Hello? I think all my sounds just kind of went a little haywire. Can you guys hear me now? Hi! Okay, great. I think we're working again. What was I saying? I don't remember. I didn't say anything important. We can't talk when you're out of breath like that, can we? He is the psychopath. It's absolutely.
どうして
Oh my god.
ここにいるんです。アマデウスはどうなったんです。
君に頼んだサンプリングテストは半年前に終わっている。話すことはできないな。
That was his answer. Even though Amadeus had disappeared, Luskinen was extremely calm. There was no sign of him trying to deal with the problem. Instead of being in his office, he was here. That was all I needed to know.
クリスが俺に送ってきたメッセージの内容は本当だったんですね。
The father that she'd spoken of was Luskinen, after all.
クリスや魔法どうしたんです。彼女たちの記憶データを解析してタイムマシンに関するデータを取り出すつもりなんでしょう。
驚いたな。クリスはそこまで君に話してしまったのか。監視していたつもりだったが、いつの間にそんな真似を。
I wonder when she did it. Well, Luskinen seemed truly shocked, which meant he hadn't noticed that Kurisu was an at-channeler or that she'd spoken to me there. Of course. Unsurprising. Everyone else have guns except for us. And then Luskinen took out a gun and pointed it at me.
君は少し踏み込みすぎたようだ。
Should have ignored him. It seemed you've learned a little too much. He's the scariest thing about Leskinen is that he always sounds so freaking calm. No matter what he is saying.
あなたは何者なんだ。
科学者だよ。だが科学者も実践授業ではないのでね。君はストラテジックフォーカス社というアメリカの民間情報機関を知っているかな？
See, also, here's the other thing that bothered me. So, like, back in the Gehenna ending, we heard, or at least as Maho, when we played from Maho's perspective, we overheard him speaking, like, perfect Japanese. With, like, without any of these, you know, typical Westerner accents. Like, why is he... I don't understand why he is still keeping up the act, even now, right? Same thing, like, at the very, very end of the Gehenna ending, too. When it was just us and him in the basement, he still kept up the accent, which I just don't understand. Maybe in that scene, the VA forgot to use the accent. You would think that the director would have called it out.
ストラテジックフォーカス社。アメリカの。
To be frank, I'm waiting for like that drop of that whole act altogether, and like maybe they could tell us a little bit more about Leskinen, but I don't know if it's ever gonna happen. It's just me hoping for more lore than I'm ever gonna get.
ストラトフォーカ。
I read about them on a conspiracy theory website. I remembered reading that they'd acquired top secret information on Russian ballistic missiles that even the CIA couldn't get, and then sold it. The result was the destruction of the CIA's reputation. Maybe they were speaking English but didn't want to dub it. It was an American lab, so why would they speak Japanese? That is... I never thought of it like that. Good point, Maki. No, that's entirely possible. Because clearly the VA is Japanese, right? And even when he is speaking like English words, it's clearly with like a little bit of an accent. So maybe that's why. That's a good point. I just get all caught up in little things like that. And at the same time, the total reorganization of Russia's military strategy. I even heard rumors that during the Gulf and Iraq wars, they'd obtained information about the warring countries faster than anyone and spread it as needed.
世界から影の CIA などと呼ばれているのが私たちだよ。
So he was going to use Amadeus for military purposes. Was everything he had said at that seminar just platitudes and lies?
まあ、私のことはどうでもいいだろう。
I mean, kind of.
それよりリンタロウ、勝美から聞いたのだが。
Katsumi. Oh, Fubuki-chan.
君も例の新型脳炎を発症しているそうだね。
Poor girl is tortured.
それどころか、新型脳炎そのもののメカニズムについて何か知っているらしいじゃないか。実に興味深い。君の持つその情報をぜひ提供してくれないか。
Please keep getting stuck in details. I would say I have maybe like a 50% success rate. But yeah. Rewatch the VODs at some point and see how many things I got right ahead of time. I don't know. Like sometimes I wonder if that's like ruined the experience for people who are, you know, also new to the story. I imagine for people who, you know, have experienced the stories, it's probably like ta-da kind of thing, but I do love theory crafting and get stuck in details now. That's just who I am.
簡単な施術を受けてくれるだけでいいんだ。
Undergo a simple. Oh my god, no! It's not a simple procedure, dude. He's like such stereotypical villain, isn't he? It's just like he just lacks empathy in its entirety.
そうすれば、私は君を助手として迎え入れてもいい。
A brain in a jar, comic book villain. I know, he is. For some reason, my whole body broke out in goosebumps at the word procedure. The thing different, the almost... I kind of appreciate the take that they have on Leskinen too, that he isn't like some maniacal villain, in that he's like very calm, very procedural, lacks empathy, but like has this mask. He has like learned to wear a skin of a human, right? He has learned to wear the skin of this like gentle, kind professor who is like, you know, likes to play jokes that are inappropriate at times, right? But overall just like nice, but almost too nice. Like there's something very creepy about how emotionally stable on the positive end of the spectrum at all times, which I like, because the juxtaposition to like what he does is incredible. I kind of like it. The Dr. Leskinen I knew, the man with the childlike, mischievous heart and deep scientific curiosity, the man who'd been so kind to me, the man I'd respected, was gone. He is the mad scientist, if you would. In his place was the cruel scientific fundamentalist, who thought nothing of human lives or hearts as he pointed a gun at me. Or was this who he truly was? Yes, that's it. Suddenly he seemed like a terrifying unknown.
どうかな?
He took a step toward me, and then another fierce gunfight broke out above. Leskinen clicked his tongue at the sound. He glanced toward the stairs.
なぜ銃撃戦になっているんだ? 穏便に済ませるとあれほど.
Peacefully. I'm curious as to what his definition of peaceful is. Let's go, Okabe. I took advantage of the distraction. Luckily, I was still on the staircase. I tackled his legs as hard as I could, and then he lost his balance and fell. He hit his head hard on one of the steps, and after a moment's jerk, stopped moving at all. He might be dead. The evil ones never die so easily. But I didn't care anymore. I'd become a murderer many times over already. Don't forget to take the gun. Did you take the gun? Oh, this is gonna come back and haunt us. Oh no. Oh no. When I opened the door, what I saw was a vision from the heart of hell itself. We're getting Gehenna in this too. There was blood everywhere and bodies too.
なんだこれ
In the middle of the sea of blood was a girl in a motorcycle suit and helmet, covered in crimson as she lay on the ground. She held a giant cleaver. I could see instantly that she was responsible for this disaster. Her shoulders moved up and down a little, so evidently she was still alive. I approached the woman, trying my best not to throw up from the stench.
大丈夫ママ
Oh my god. Artist, really? Is this necessary? But okay. Kagari's got cake though. I'm just very distracted. I'm sorry. They all do, yeah. I know. I like can't keep my head straight. Oh, Kagari. She's like climbing out from the depths of hell, basically. As she was. I could hear her voice from beneath a cracked, broken helmet. I looked closer and saw that some of the blood was her own. Her body was racked by bullet wounds, and her left hand was completely gone. It was a miracle that she somehow survived all that. She didn't seem to notice me as she slowly crawled through the blood. I followed her gaze and saw Mayuri huddled beneath the time machine. Suzuha seemed to be unhurt, but there was blood on Mayuri's face.
Mayuri!
I hadn't expected to see her here, but I was worried about her wound. But more than anything, I was glad she was safe. She raised her face when she heard my voice, but the next moment, her eyes locked on the girl in the motorcycle suit. Huh? She saw the thing. Oh, that's... in a way... that's mean. Narrator. She saw the thing crawling toward her and screamed.
Mama! Mama! 違うの。これは、だって、
What a first impression.
かがりは、本当は人殺しなんてするつもりじゃなくって、ただ、ママを守ろうとして。
Kagari. Did she say Kagari? It was only then that I realized that a girl in the motorcycle suit was the Shina Kagari that Suzuha had been looking for.
ごめんなさい、ママ。かがり、もういい。
Suzuha yelled, unable to take any more.
もういいから動くな。死ぬぞ、お前。かがりはね、ママに怖い思いをさせようなんて思ってなかったんだよ。本当だよ。かがりはただママを助けなくちゃって。だからママ、お願い。かがりを嫌いにならないで。お願い。
Oh, she is like stereotypical yandere. Holy crap.
ママ、ごめんなさい。許して。
At last, her strength failed and she collapsed. I returned to my senses and ran to her before Suzuha could get there.
おい、大丈夫か？
Her breathing was wheezy and shallow. One of the bullets had probably pierced her lungs. I thought taking off her helmet would help her breathe, so I put my hand on it to remove it, but she grabbed my hand and pushed it away.
やめて。取らないで。生と鈴葉お姉ちゃんの前では。
Wait, why?
お願い。岡部さん。
She doesn't want that connection? Like she doesn't... But Mayuri already knows that you're Kagari. Her voice and the way she talked. I realized who this girl called Shina Kagari was. I looked down and saw I recognized her face.
そんな君はなぜ
What the? Wait. Who? Suzuha? Wait, am I... Hold on.
オカリンおじさん、かがりは
It's Yuki. Oh. What? Oh my god, my brain. So yes, it was Yuki after all, right? Like we had thought that it was... I see it now. No, the hair and the eyes. That's why I thought it was Suzuha, because they basically look the same. It's the Yuki from Future, right? Or whatever. What do you mean by not the real Yuki? Okay, we're just gonna go. We're gonna see if the game explains it to me. My brain. Yeah. Who, what, why? But I think that makes sense, right? Because remember, like, several world lines ago where Suzuha had a sort of hands-on fight with the girl in a motorcycle suit, right? And that she had hurt her left arm or right arm, one of the arms, and Yuki was the only one with the injury that we know of. But somehow she was able to convince everybody, including myself, that it was from her part-time job. So I was really sus of her for a while, but that explains a lot in that regard. It also kind of explains why Yuki was saying like, oh, I'm not sure, you know, whether or not what I should do, right? When she was talking with Suzuha after the date of Daru, but maybe that's not the same Yuki. Let's see. Oh, Okabe, you're way too nice about this. I quickly motioned to Suzuha to keep her distance.
こっちは任せろ。お前はマユリを頼む。マユリの傷は大丈夫なのか確認してくれ。
She looked upset, but did as I asked. She went back to Mayuri and started to look at her wounds. Mayuri was covering her face and trying not to look at the body.
大丈夫。マユ姉さんの傷は深くない。
I relaxed a little when I heard that.
よかった。ママ、無事だったんだ。よかった。
The name is still Kagari, though. Kagari's voice was a whisper as I cradled her in my arms. And then she slowly closed her eyes. Her breathing got weaker.
しっかりしろ。君はなんで？
大丈夫。心配しないで。 私こうなっても痛くも苦しくもないから、いつも神様の声が聞こえるの。君は痛くならないよ、苦しくならないよって。
Jesus, Leskinen.
だから全然岡部さんには伝えておくね。本物は何も知らないです。
The real one doesn't know anything.
3年前からヨーロッパに留学中だから。
So this Yuki, so like the real Amane Yuki hasn't been in our storyline at all, basically. But I guess in a way, this is the real Yuki to us, right? In a way.
教授が私を秋葉原へ送り込むために裏で手を回して。
The professor manipulated things behind the scenes to send me to Akihabara. Are they doing the whole like face thing? Like Kagari was made to look like Yuki in this world line. I mean, like, just forget about all the other world lines, right? Like, whatever. I think for me, it's like, okay, how much of this does it imply that everything that we experienced so far, who is the real Yuki, whatever. But forget about all the other branching world lines and let's just think about this one. So this is still Kagari. Kagari just, like, under the instruction of Luskin or something, went through plastic surgery, whatever, and made to look like Yuki this whole time. So the one that had been on dates with Daru was Kagari. Oh my god, that is so freaking messed up. And okay. Oh, okay. Why? Okay.
本物は本当に何も知らない。
But I think we can infer that at least the one that was previously... Well, that doesn't make sense. Right? In the other world lines where Yuki was in fight... Anyway, I'm gonna stop thinking about that. Let's move on.
教授だって
That one was probably the actual Yuki, because otherwise we would have both Kagari and Kagari Yuki. That doesn't make any sense. Okay. Brain melted. Mission complete. Very good. Does she mean? Yes, that psychopath
この世界
downstairs.
線では本当は来年なんですよ。橋田さんと本物が出会うのは。
But how do you explain that to Daru? Oh my god. Kagari opened her eyes a little once more and looked toward the time machine. Toward Mayuri and
大
Suzuha.
丈夫。きっと本物も橋田さんのこと好きになります。
So, also, is then The Yuki that's been doing like all the komima, all the cosplaying with, you know, the gang in this particular world line has always been Kagari. That is so crazy.
私と同じように
What?
言っちゃった。誰にも内緒ですよ。
Oh my god, my brain. No. She fell in love with Hastaitaru. I'm so glad she isn't like the actual biological daughter of Mayuri, but oh my god. Okay, alright. I mean, yes, Daru deserves more love, but at the same time, it's just like, not everyone needs a love line. Please, we don't all need a love line. And this time, her smile is still shining in her eyes. They closed for real. With one final shudder, the strength left her body. The strength has left my body too. I know, I feel you on that, Lenia. Chuck a little bit more, chuck a few more tables for me. So it's complicated, right? Because if you think about it, Yuki as we know it, all the Yukis that in this world line that we have experienced, that we have spent time with and interacted with, has been Kagari. This is the Yuki to us. I mean, yes, I know the real Yuki is coming later, and you know, the actual mom of Suzuha is coming later, but the one that Mayuri is friends with, that we understand that Fubuki is friends with, is this one. So this is our friend, for better or for worse, right? Oh my god, that is so effed up. Her life faded away in my hands. There was so much I wanted to ask her. Why had she appeared before us using that name? There were so many things I didn't understand. But seeing Kagari's life ended in that moment.
Kagari wa buji?
She deaded. She very dead. I came back to my senses when I heard her voice. If I told her about Kagari's death, it would cause her a lot of mental stress. That wasn't a good idea. Right now, I need to do something about the time machine as fast as possible. Yeah, don't forget, there's still a Leskinen downstairs, right? Who most likely is still alive because they don't die that easily. But also, how do you mask a death of someone who literally just died in front of you? She's someone like Suzuha. It makes no sense, right? They better explain this shit or I'll riot. Fucking let's get into, I know.
大丈夫だ。この子は俺が病院へ連れて行く。
Yeah, she ain't breathing anymore though. I slung Kagari's body. Oh my god, I slung Kagari's bloody body around my shoulder and stood up.
鈴葉は急いでタイムマシンを停止させて偽装しろ。もうじき警察がここへ。
We're quite literally carrying a corpse on our back.
もう遅いよ。
Oh my god, speaking of the devil. Speak of the devil. My vague understanding is that SGO is based on untranslated light novels that are more coherent. There's light novels to this too? How many forms does Steins Gate take on? That's insane. Oh. Okabe, did you at least take the gun from him? At the very least, like, does he at least not have a gun anymore? Like, that would be nice. He wasn't dead? Of course he wasn't. They don't die. These people don't die. Same VAs, excellent. The villain we don't need and especially don't deserve, I know, right? But he must have taken a lot of damage to the head because his face was the color of clay. And one of his eyes wasn't focusing. Yeah, and whose fault was that?
America もロシアも日本も動き出してしまった。一度回り出した歯車はもう止められない。
Yeah, there's the Japanese too, right?
カガリがもっと早く我々に報告していれば、ここまで事態は悪化することもなかったものも。
Yo, no, you don't get to pin it on Kagari. What the hell? I feel like I never get so upset at a character. I rarely get upset at a character, but I'm very upset at Luskinen. Is this how you keep it in your head? Like, you're stereotypical narcissist kind of thing where, like, in your head the whole world moves for you, so if anything happens it's other people's fault? Probably. Luskinen knew about Kagari? Come on! Have you been listening, Okabe? Get a move on. Which meant that I was right. What were you right about? But Suzuha spoke before I could.
そうか。お前が教授か。
Shoot him. Do it now.
カガリを洗脳したのはお前だな。
そうなんですか。あなたはそういう人だったんですか。
Okarin, you slow little poke.
別にこの私が何かしたわけじゃない。
It's all his underlings, huh? Luskinen didn't try to deny it.
むしろ10年ほど前、路頭に迷っていた彼女を助けて、ここまで育つよう援助してあげたんだよ。
Yeah, the future you brainwashed her. I guess you could say that you, in this particular iteration of World Lines, hasn't done anything yet, right?
援助って普通に生活してたら彼女がこんな風になるはずないじゃないか。
そんなに怒鳴らないでくれないか。頭が悪そうにいたもんだ。
Oh, please, be my guest. Let it actually kill you.
嘘じゃない。彼女は自分の方から私に接触してきた。整形までしてこの町に潜り込んだのも彼女のプランだよ。
Ah, there's the background. But I'm just thinking about it. Okay. Does Kagari actually know Amane Yuki? Because we know Yuki died later on.
何でも頭の中の神様が全て教えてくれるんだそうだ。最初私はホームレスの子供が食べ物欲しさにくだらない作り話をしているんだと思ったんだよね。彼女の脳や記憶を調べてみると非常に興味深く素晴らしいことが分かった。その神様というのはね。
And even as his face twisted in pain, he smiled proudly. Proudly.
その神様というのはなんと未来の2036年の私だったんだよ。
This is the mad scientist that Hoin Kyoma had always pretended that he was, but never had the capacity of becoming.
あんたは本当のマッドサイエンティストだ。
Yes, yes, Rintaro. We are on the same page. There's the sink. It is. I've played this game too much. Suddenly, I heard a siren down below. Just hearing the sound made me feel uneasy. I'd never heard a sound like it before.
なんだこれ。
ゲリラ攻撃情報、ゲリラ攻撃情報。当地域にゲリラ攻撃の可能性があります。屋内に避難し、テレビ、ラジオをつけてください。
Here's World War III. I heard that announcement coming from the speakers on the street. All right, let's read this. Guerrilla attack alert. A type of alert from Japan's early warning system, J Alert. The J Alert system is a system used in the event of an emergency, such as a large-scale disaster or an armed attack, to send out information from the government to warn the populace. When activated, the J Alert system uses communication satellites to automatically activate all disaster warning systems throughout Japan, including loudspeakers, sirens, and alerts that interrupt radio and TV station broadcasts. There are several different types of alerts, including earthquake early warnings, Tokai earthquake alerts, tsunami warnings, volcanic eruption warnings, several weather advisories, ballistic missile alerts, air raid alerts, guerrilla and special forces attack alerts, and large-scale terrorism alerts. A guerrilla attack? I could hear several helicopters in the sky above me. Their engines were clearly more powerful than the ones in the media's news choppers. I recognized the sound from the time I'd spent in the wartime war line.
言っただろう。ここは間もなくタイムマシンを奪い合う戦場と化すんだ。
第三次世界大戦が始まるのか。
まさかこの町の住民も自分たちの都市の中心から世界戦争が始まるとは夢にも思っていないだろうね。
And then Luskinen leaned up against a wall, sat down, and stopped moving. He dead? Whether he passed out or gone into a coma from the brain damage, I didn't have time to find out. Finish him off while you have the chance. It was like the air in the city had gone heavier. That's how it felt. A chill ran down my spine. I spent a month at war in that world line, and the same future was about to begin here. Something like that couldn't happen in Japan. It was like a TV show or a movie. But I knew instinctively that this wasn't fiction. There had been signs since 6 months ago. Here, in Akihabara, in Tokyo, in Japan. Spies and soldiers from all around the world had been working in the shadows. So I'd known this would happen. Because I refused Suzuha's request, because I wished for the world line where Mayuri survived. I'd doomed over 5 billion people. I was the one who chose this. It was me. I looked and saw that Suzuha was pushing Mayuri into the time machine.
こうなったら、私たちはこのまま過去へジャンプする。かがりのこと頼んだよ。
Suzuha had no idea that Kagari was already dead. She leaped into the cockpit. I raced over and grabbed onto the hatch, then looked inside.
過去ってまさか1年前あの日へ行くのかこんな急に。
急ってわけじゃないんだ。それにあの火矢は飛ばない。
She was tapping commands into the console as she spoke.
何？あの冷えは飛ばないって、どういう？
ちょっとまゆ姉さんを借りるよ。
Huh? Mayuri was already strapped into a seat, just like I was when I jumped a year ago with Suzuha.
マユリ、
Mayuri!
お前。
オカリン。
I heard fierce gunfire and screams in the distance. It looked like some of the spies had started fighting each other. Kakari may have just wiped out a force from one nation, but an army from an entirely different one was still coming.
オカリン、これ。
Mayuri handed me a smartphone. I took it without thinking.
電波つながらないからこれ預けるね。メール読んで。マユシーの気持ちだから。
Oh.
ちょっと待て！なんでお前が行くんだ！お前が行ったって結果は同じだ。何もできない。
Don't say that. Please.
それに今飛んだら戻ってこられない。
違うの。オカリンじゃダメなの。これはね、マユシーの役目だから。
わからない。俺にはさっぱりわからない。
Oh, I love this character development in Mayuri. I love it.
頼む、降りてくれマユリ。お前まで因果の輪から外れたら、俺は何のためにこの世界線を選んだのか。
オカリン。
Mayuri gently rubbed my cheek, and she smiled sadly. She softly pushed my shoulder. It threw me off balance and made me let go of the hatch. Then the hatch closed.
マユリ、待て！
It was too late. By the time I grabbed back on, the hatch was sealed shut. The door controls were biometric, only Suzuha could open it now. The time machine started to roar. A pale light began to gather around it. I've seen this before in the Alpha World line.
マユリ。
I think Okarin just got a taste of his own medicine. Didn't he? This is how it feels when people make decisions for you. This is how it feels when people say, it's not your job, it's my job to do it. Just then, a group of armed men kicked open the door and swarmed onto the roof. They were highly trained military operatives. And then an attack helicopter descended from the skies. The soldiers started to shoot at it, but the helicopter seemed to ignore them as it slowly hovered in place. I realized the powerful rocket launchers on either side of its body were aimed at me. No, at the time machine. It can't be.
やめろ。
But my worst fears were realized. The helicopter fired its rockets. They headed straight for the time machine. It was still there, shrouded in light.
やめろ。
Oh shit. The second I yelled, a powerful blast blew me back. Did I jump in time? The next thing I knew, I was crawling on the ground. I saw that some of the soldiers had already joined the mountain of corpses on the ground, and some of them were still shooting at the helicopter. I stood up as fast as I could. My whole body felt like it was on fire. My skin was burnt in places. My clothes had been blasted off. No, don't worry about those things right now. What about the time machine? I looked up toward where the time machine had been. If it had jumped in time, it should have been able to avoid the rockets. However, oh fuck. It's like in the previous ending, the Gehenna ending, yeah? There were scraps of metal everywhere. I could tell they belonged to the time machine. Did it not make it in time?
鈴葉マユリ
But there he only heard of Mayuri and Suzuha missing and the time machine being destroyed. Right. We didn't know the actual events. I looked around in the cloud of smoke. You gotta be affirmative to the build quality of Radican. Like, it didn't even make a dent on the ground. That's impressive.
なあマユリどこだマユリ鈴葉返事をしてくれ
There were bodies everywhere. But I couldn't see Mayuri or Suzuha. I couldn't even tell if they were alive or dead. There were no bodies. They simply vanished. After that, things went far beyond my power to control. Am I going to do any breaks? I will. I will. Brutal attacks took place on the ground and in the sky of Akihabara. I'd seen footage of war in the Middle East on the news. Those same scenes were playing out in Akihabara. I managed to slip through the chaos of the battle and barely escape Radican with my life. I had no choice but to leave Kagari's body. I took the long way back to the lab so that no one would find me. By the time I arrived, the sun had set, and the night sky was illuminated with explosions and tracer rounds. The entirety of Akihabara was like someone had poked a beehive. The lights were out at the lab. Oh, that's never a good sign. I guess that's okay. But inside, I found Daru, Maho, and Ferris staring at a TV and computer monitor.
オカリン
岡部さん、よく無事で。ってひどい怪我してる。大丈夫なの？
戦闘に巻き込まれたん
I didn't have the energy to answer them. I looked toward the footage on the TV screen. The reporter was wearing bulletproof vest and a hard hat. He was screaming at the top of his lungs, trying to drown out the reporters from the other stations. Hi, Maru. How are you? Happy Friday. And then a stray shot from an anti-material rifle fired by a special forces team from some country or another struck the news van's engine and blew it up. You're doing well, got an eye exam in an hour. Oh. How am I? I'm good. I'm good. Day off. Playing Steins will finish this today. So I'm well. How long has the game been silent, you guys? I don't know if I clicked it by accident. This is bad. Oh boy. Not long at all? Alright. No, it's your fault, Maru. I blame it on you. Just a few lines, but wanted to say I wasn't sure. Just yell at me next time if you hear something like that, Maki. Sometimes, like, I click around frantically and accidentally click on things that I don't intend to. So just yell at me if audio ever sounds off or you're hearing doubles or, yeah, things like that. Just yell. It's okay. Alright. Audio check. So far so good, I hope.
爆発した。爆発が起きました。死にたいのか。今すぐ逃げろ。もう戦争なんだ。本当に死ぬぞ。
Oh my gosh. I think when the news reporting networks become unoperational or inoperational, that's when you know shit has gone down. An SDF soldier forced his way onto the screen and yelled at the media to run away. Hell if I know. I don't even know. All of them. Everybody's at war. Just after that, I heard another explosion and the video was cut off. Did they take a direct hit? Everyone fell silent.
ここも危ないわね。
Alright, we gotta flee.
お家には帰れない。
Or we go back 2 weeks on the time leap machine.
ネットの情報も大混乱中なんだよ。なおかりん、鈴葉は、あと、マユシは見つかったん？
Bad news, everybody.
鈴葉とマユリは鈴葉とマユリは過去へ飛んだのか死んだのかどっちかだ。
Oh gosh. Daru stormed up to me, infuriated.
どういうことだよ。もっとちゃんと教えてくれ。戦闘ヘリがタイムマシンにロケットランチャーを。タイムマシンは破壊されて、それに鈴葉とマユリが乗ってて、過去へ飛ぶ直前だったんだ。マシンの残骸は残ってたけど、全部じゃなくて、ラル、どれだけ探しても鈴葉もマユリも死体が見つからなかったんだ。
Oh my god, praise to VA.
体の一部さえ残ってなかった。まるで跡形もなく消えたみたいに。
あの二人ちゃんと過去に止めたのかな。
The tears I tried so hard to hold back came pouring out. Daru fell to his knees. Ferris and Maho were staring at me, eyes wide in shock.
ちくしょう、
Daru slammed his fists into the floor.
そんなバカなことってあるかよ。あるのかよ。
I tried to wipe away my tears and realized I was holding something in my right hand. It was the cell phone that Mayuri had given me. All right. Ice cream tissues. Are we ready? She told me to read the message on it. It wasn't locked. I opened the mail folder. There were several unsent messages addressed to her family and friends. One of them was addressed to me. Was this what she wanted me to read? With shaking fingers, I tapped the screen to open the message. Pizza and tissues. Works just as well. Oh dear.
マユシーです。本当はちゃんとお話ししようと思ったけど、うまく言えるかどうかわからないし、オカリンに引き止められると迷っちゃいそうだからメールにしました。私はすずさんと一緒に過去へ行ってきます。なんでってオカリンは怒るかもしれないね。でもこれは私がやらなきゃいけないことなの。だってあの時私の彦星様をどんなに苦しい時でもいつも立ち上がって高笑いをあげてた強い強い彦星様を暗い雲の向こうに隠しちゃったのは私なんだから。私ね、勘違いしてた。みんなは未来をオカリン一人に押し付けようなんてしてなかったんだね。オカリンの周りにはダルくんがいて、すずさんもいて、デカくんもいて、フェリスちゃんもいて、ユキさんもいて、それにマホさんも加わった。
You forgot a very important one in there, Mayuri.
だから今度はね、私の出番。だってこれはラボメンナンバー002の初めての大きな任務なんだから。オカリンはきっと心配すると思うけど大丈夫だよ。それにもしも何かあったとしても必ず助けに来てくれるって信じてるから。私の大好きな法院京馬が新しく作ったタイムマシンに乗って必ず。
There it is. I think in the end, she still took it all upon herself. She's still letting all of that ride on her shoulders. Now, she was the one who sort of allowed Okabe into a slump.
だから私は行ってきます。必ず戻ります。オカリンのところへ戻ってきます。少しだけ待っててね。私は法院京馬のことが好き。
Oh my gosh.
でもね、岡部倫太郎のことはもっと好きだよ。
お前
忘れてるだろ。お前は俺の人質なんだぞ。いなくなったら人質にならないじゃないか。何かあったら助けに来いだと。人質のくせに生意気だろ。狂気のマッドサイエンティストがお前なんかのために。お前なんかのために。お前はバカだ。でももっとバカだったのはこの俺だ。
Guilt and despair were tearing my soul apart. It was just like how I felt after I'd killed Kirisu. Maybe I'd be better off if I just fell over and died. I'd do anything to be released from this pain. But in the corner of my tear-blurred vision, I saw it. Hoen Kyoma's final weapon, his last hope. No, it's the thing that's brought me so many nightmares. Time leap machine. I staggered to the development room and threw off the cardboard that was covering it. There it was. The phone wave named subject to change, Unit-02. The thing that made Maho and Daru, the thing that Maho and Daru have been working on behind my back. If I can complete this. I turned around, wiped away my tears, and saw my friends looking depressed in the middle of the darkened room.
お前たち
Let's go!
タイムリープマシンの作り方がわからないと言ったな。俺の言う通りにしてくれるか。クリスの導き出した回をお前たちに伝える。それでタイムリープマシンは起動する。
All this is hype. Maho said the one thing she didn't know was how to compress the memory data, which means that everything else was finished. And I knew how to complete it. Daru was the first to nod.
やるよ。教えてくれオカリン。
私も手伝うわ。
決まりだにゃ。
All three responded with no hesitation. They turned toward me and spoke their answers clearly.
よし。
All the cringe we endured for this moment, it wasn't that cringe for the last maybe 3 to 4 hours. But before then, it was pain. Let's go, Hoen Kyoma.
ダル、セルンにハッキングをかけてくれ。LHC を遠隔操作する。
Let's go.
そこで記憶データを36バイトまで小さくする。それなら過去へ転送できる。
たったの36バイト。
Hold on to your butts, Maho. You can tell she was a scientist by the way her face went pale at the number.
けどさ、なんか動作が不安定で、こいつただの電子レンジになっちゃう時があって。
ブラウン管工房の42型ブラウン管。それが点灯している時に電話レンジカッコ仮は機能を発揮する。
ブラウン管。あ、そうか。
Just the word CRT was enough for her to figure it out. The life was coming back to their
それな
eyes.
ら完成させられるかも。でも完成したとしていきなり使うつもり？何の実証もせずに人体実験まがいのことをするなんて。
自分の作ったものに自信が持てないのか。
Alright, kids, don't do this at home.
でも
別の世界線でクリスはやってみせたぞ。
These are all clearly trained professionals. Oh, and that's mean. You're using kurisu to...
それはクリスだからよ。私はあの子にはなれないわ。
アットチャンネルに書かれたクリスのメッセージを見ただろう。
It was beautiful. Yeah. So lastly, I'd like you to pass a message to the person I respect the most. I always regarded myself as an essentially ordinary intellect. Tell her that she was always the person I wanted to be. Tell her that she was the real Amadeus.
クリスにあそこまで言わせたんだ。なのに逃げる気か。
逃げたりなんかしないわよ。見くびらないで。
Thanks, Maru. Have a good one. I'll see you around. Thanks for coming by. It's great to see you. I nodded back and smoothed back my hair, which had been mussed by the explosion.
京馬、これ。
I love how quickly Ferris caught on. She immediately called us Kyoma. She was calling us Okabe for a little bit, right? Love it, Ferris. Ferris brought me my white lab coat, which had been hanging for ages on the wall in the development room. I bit down on my lip and wiped away the tears one more time. Let's go! I took the lab coat and slipped my arms through the sleeves. I spun around so that the hem of the coat flew up. This is like Okabe Rintaro's magical girl moment. And stood triumphantly at the center of the lab just as I used to. And then I declared in a loud voice,
これより電話レンジカッコ仮2号機を完成させタイムリープを行う。俺に力を貸してくれ。今度こそ俺は絶対に諦めない。
I looked at Daru, Ferris, and finally at Maho.
たとえ何回何十回何百回ダメだったとしても何千回何万回何億回と挑んで何もかも全て救ってみせる。鈴葉も真由里もそしてクリスもだ。これはその最初の一歩となる。
For the first time in a year, I was back to my old self. My friends saw me and nodded, their face filled with resolve. It took almost 2 full days to finish work on the phone wave being subject to change. Meanwhile, the chaos in Akihabara continued, and it wasn't safe to go outside. Working on the time leap machine while knowing that the battles might reach us at any minute, or that a special forces team might burst in at any time, was a hard job that wore on our nerves. I mean, do we at least have a door now? But still, we managed to finish the machine somehow. And so, I time leaped once more. Let's go! Alright. So we're back to 7-7. How about we take like a quick, I don't know, 5-minute break here. Get some water, stretch a little bit, etc., etc. And we'll be back in 5 to continue this journey after Hon Kyoma is back, right? Let's do that. Yeah. All right. I'll see you guys on the other side. We'll be back to continue this in 5. Hi, I'm back. Hello. I had a couple bites of ice cream to soothe my broken heart for Mayuri. But I hope we'll get to save her. I mean, I know in the end that we did save her, but let's go. All right, so we're back on July 7th. That is the date. I think the last time that we were on July 7th was when Maho was working on the time leap machine. But where was Okabe? He was probably on his way to the lab. Let's see. The next thing I knew, I was standing in the middle of an Akihabara alleyway. I was holding a cell phone in my hand. I had a nasty headache. There was a stinging pain in my neck. I felt a pain on one side of my head, like a migraine headache, and the left side of my face hurt really bad. My vision flashed with dark and bright spots. I took a look around. The alley was still peaceful. I heard no gunshots and no explosions. The otaku were enjoying their shopping. The girls in maid outfits were calling out to passers-by. That alone was enough to tell me for sure that the time leap was a success. I looked at the time on my smartphone. July 7th, 5:45 p.m. I had around 40 to 50 minutes before the war began. That still wasn't nearly enough time. But a 48-hour limit of the time leap machine meant that this was as far as I could go. There's no point in getting negative. If the machine had been finished just a little later, it would have been too late. I should be glad that I made it here at all. I remember what I've been doing at this time. I was running around Akihabara looking for Mayuri. Oh. So this is already after Mayuri has gone sort of non-reachable. All right, let's call Maho. Phone. Hyazo Maho.
もしもし、見つかった？
いや、だが場所は分かった。急いでラボに戻ってきてくれ。
I hung up before she could answer and went back to the lab myself. She was already there by the time I arrived.
まゆりさん見つかったのよね。迎えに行かなくていいの
Daru was acting a little awkward, probably because he just hit me.
ヒヤジョさん、よくやってくれた。
はい
I grabbed both of her hands and shook them. Both Maho and Daru seemed confused as to what was going on.
俺は48時間後の未来からタイムリープしてきたんだ。マジ？
完成させたの？最低でもあと48時間以内に。
ああ。
一体どうやって？
説明は後だ。いいか、時間がない。よく聞いてくれ。何人もの命がかかってる。
I'd gone over the mission many times while waiting for work on the phone wave name subject to change to finish. I thought of everything to say.
ヒヤジョさん、すぐにアマデウスにアクセスして、クリスとマホをバックアップごと全部消去しろ。レース記念はあれを平和利用するつもりなんてない。
何を、そんなめちゃくちゃな。
タイムリープしてきたって言っただろう。あと1時間もしないうちに秋葉原が戦場になるんだ。タイムマシンが狙われるんだよ。それが 第三次世界大戦の始まりになる。阻止しないと鈴葉も真由里も死ぬ。
Maho and Daru went pale when they heard that.
マジ？え？マジ？
だから俺の言う通りにしてほしい。
データにはアクセスできるけど、外部からいじるには教授の持っている管理者権限が必要よ。
そこから先はダルの仕事だ。クラックしてデータを完全破壊しろ。
オキドキ！任せろ！
Daru started typing at incredible speed. His daughter's life was on the line. Maho stood next to him and typed in her ID and password to begin accessing Amadeus.
俺はラジカンへ行く。ここは任せたぞ。
オカリン！鈴葉を頼む！
はあ、任せろ。
Daru didn't even look up from his computer.
鈴葉、真由里。
When I made it to the top of Radikan, Mayuri quickly ducked behind the time machine.
おかり。
Mayuri was trying not to look at me. Her eyes were a little red because she'd been crying so much. She heard me talking about Kurisa's sacrifice in the Alpha World line. My heart ached again, realizing how much I'd hurt her.
真由里、タイムマシンで過去へ戻るつもりか？
どうして？
俺は48時間後からタイムリープしてきた。全部知ってる。
それ本当？
I nodded. You're looking at a very different Okabe Rintaro right now.
ここはあと30分もしないうちに戦場になる。
まさかタイムマシンのことがどこかから漏れるの？
あ、
まずい。だったら今すぐに飛ぶしかない。
Suzuha leaped into the time machine.
いや、ちょっとだけ待ってくれ。ダルとヒアジョーさんが今先手を打っているところだ。優秀な二人だ。必ずうまくいくだろう。でももし仮に思い通りにいかなかったら。
行かなかったら
お前たちは死ぬかもしれない。
かもしれないってどういう意味？オカリンおじさんがタイムリープする前の世界で私たちはどうなったの？というかおじさんがタイムリープしてきたってことは何か致命的な失敗があった。そうなんだね。
This is a sharp. There you go. Should I tell them? There's no time to hesitate.
鈴葉と真由里が乗っていたタイムマシンは時間跳躍直前にロケットランチャーの直撃を受けた。でも乗っていたお前たち二人の死体はマシンの残骸の中からは見つからなかったんだ。
なるほど。だからかもしれないか。それなら未来は確定してない。まだ成功の可能性は残されてる。
鈴葉ならそう言うと思った。
止めないでよおじさん。
Her eyes were filled with resolve. They seemed to say that if I tried to stop her, she'd do whatever it took to ensure I failed. Of course, I had no intention of stopping her. She'd come here to do her job, and there was no way to change her mind. Actually, I come here to ensure that she could jump without having to worry about Stratfo's interference. But Mayuri, the uncertainty that had been going in and out of my mind ever since I'd read her message reared its head again.
なあ、真由里、本当に言ってしまうのか？お前に隠し事をしていたのは謝る。 でも俺もクリスもみんながお前のことを大好きなんだ。そんなお前を助けたくてこの世界線にたどり着いたんだ。なのにお前が行ってしまったら俺たちは。
おかり。
いや、お前の気持ちは痛いほど分かってるけど。
ねえ、オカリンおじさん。
And then Suzuha spoke softly.
オペレーションアークライトが発動したんだよ。
オペレーションアークライト。
私が聞かされていた当初の計画とは違う。戻るのは去年の7月28日じゃなくて8月21日になった。
August 21st. Do I have that date written down somewhere? I don't. No, I do. Wait, what? It was the first date that I wrote down, and I don't know why I wrote it down. Why did I write it down? Okay. It's when Suzuha came to ask him to go back the first time. I know, going through my notes, like, where the hell is it? Oh, that makes sense, because I said August 21st, and then the next thing was November 23rd. So that was when we refused.
8月21日。
That was the day Suzuha first arrived on this world line in her time machine. And the day I'd given up on everything.
そのオペレーションにはマユ姉さんも必要なんだ。
Wait, first arrived? Oh, that's right. Right? Maybe. I don't know. Hold on.
未来の父さんから私はそう指示を受けた。ついさっき。
Being a time traveler is hard. I won't remember any of this shit.
なんだって。
In the future, Daru came up with an operation I knew nothing about. No, you were there. We heard you in the background. And he needed Mayuri for you? Again, you were there. Her unexpected words sent my mind reeling.
おかり。
And then Mayuri came close enough for me to hold her and grabbed my hand tight. They're going back to the moment when Okabe returned from his failed attempt to save Kurisu, right? I'm just trying to remember if the first... Wasn't that... Hold on. I feel like I even need to go back to my Steins Gate notes. You know what? I'm sure the game will remind me because I'm sure I'm not the only one who can't remember. She looked like she was close to tears, but her eyes were clear and bright.
マユリ。
行かせて。マユシーもラボメンなんだよ。落ち込んじゃってる彦星さんをマユシーがひっぱたいてきてあげるから。
Let's go. Mayuri is the hero that we need but don't deserve.
お願い。
Let's go. I remember what was in that message. I understood how she was really feeling here at this very moment. The last remnants of my hesitation slowly melted away.
俺一人で何もかも背負ってると勘違いしていたんだな。
Yes. Yes, Okarin.
周りのことが見えてなかったんだな。マユリだけじゃない。俺の近くにはたくさんのラボメンたちがいるのにな。
The power of friendship. It's like that rainbow meme. It's the power of friendship.
おかり。
In all the best ways possible. I did not mean it as a mock. Who? Oh my god. Who the hell is this? Of course, it wouldn't be as easy. Okay, I suddenly felt a horrible pain in my leg as the shock knocked me several meters forward and onto the ground. I looked down at my leg and saw that there was a red stain around the calf. It felt like it was on fire. The pain flared up each time my heart beat, and I couldn't stand. Was I just shocked?
お前かがり。
Oh, shit. A girl in a motorcycle suit was standing there. Kagari had a handgun in her right hand, and in her left, she was holding what looked like a bomb. There was no sign of the professor or the other men in camo. That much was fortunate, but Kagari had shown up a little earlier than I expected. I hadn't quite planned for this, but evidently I ran out of time.
スザー、マシンに乗るんだ。今すぐ飛べ。くだらないことを言って悪かった。お前を守るためなら誰はどんなことでもやってのける。失敗なんてするわけないよな。
オカリンおじさん。
だからマシンは無事に飛べるだろ。
もちろん。
In fact, there was no sign of anyone but Kagari showing up. That meant that Daru and Maho's efforts had been successful, and that they'd kept the secrets of the time machine out of Strapo's hands.
前よりも行け。早く。
でもオカリンは。
Wait. So Kagari... Of course Kagari knew about the time machine, but she has not divulged that to Strato yet, right? Because that's what Luskina was saying before. She was looking at my injured leg and
俺のこ
panicking.
となら心配ない。14年後までは絶対に死なないからな。
Kagari fired again. The bullet struck less than 30 centimeters away from where I was lying on the ground. Luskina learned about it from Kurisu. My brain. The case. Actually, how far does this go? Read the message, I'll tell you how Mayuri feels. Okay, never mind. I think we missed it. Yeah. He said the girl took way too long to tell him. Maybe it was Kurisu. Yeah. The bullet struck less than 30 centimeters away from where I was lying on the ground.
誰も動いちゃダメじゃないとその人を殺しちゃうよ。マシンに乗らないでそれは教授に渡すの。その後使い方を教えてもらって係が未来へ帰るのに使うんだから。
構うな。ここは俺が何とかする。早くしろ。スザーもだ。係のことは俺に任せてくれていい。
分かった。マヨネさん中へ。
Suza had pushed Mayuri inside the time machine and out of my sight.
ホカリおじさん係のこと頼んだよ。
了解だ。
I feel like Suza has take care of her is not quite the same take care of her that we're thinking of. But okay. Suza had followed Mayuri inside, and at the same time, the hatch started to close.
ダメだって言ってるのに降りてよ。
Kagari ran up to it. I forced myself to stand up, ignoring the piercing pain, and blocked her path.
邪魔はさせない。
うるさい。どけ。
断る。
どけよ。
Oh gosh. Kagari kicked my injured leg, and hard. The pain made me so dizzy I could hardly stand. Kagari slipped past me and tried to grab onto the time machine. She was going to use the bomb in her hand. I thought you were all about keeping your mom safe. What is going on? If she did, things would turn out the same as last time. My time leap would be wasted.
降りろ。じゃないとこの爆弾でマシンを壊す。
やめろ。
I grabbed her from behind and wrapped my arms around her, under hers. I pulled her away from the machine, ignoring the pain in my leg.
分かってるのか。そんなことすればお前の大事なママが死ぬんだぞ。
でも私は
おとなしくしてくれ。頼むから。
Mayuri tossed a hard drive to me from the almost completely closed hatch. A hard drive. What fell on the floor was the thing Kurisa had left behind for Maho.
これはクリスの。
Wait,
どうしてここに。
wasn't it shot to pieces? I thought Russia had destroyed it. Mayuri, what kind of secrets do you hide
父
from
さん
us?
を怒らないでやって。これからのタイムマシン研究に必要なものだと思うから。
So Daru had backed it up already? I could just barely hear Suzuha's voice from within the time machine. So that was it. Daru had hid it in the time machine?
それじゃあオカリ行ってくるね。
I could see Mayuri looking at me from the small gap in the door. That's right. This was a temporary goodbye. I'd see her again someday, right, Mayuri? So I would send off my brave Lab Mem 002 with my head held high.
頼んだぞ。ラボメンナンバー00に椎名真由里。オペレーションアークライトを完遂しろ。情けないこの俺をひっぱたいてきてくれ。
任せて。オカリ、私ね、オカリンのこと大好き。
I love you too, Mayuri.
あ、
I smiled as the hatch sealed completely shut. The time machine started to roar. I felt like I heard a helicopter in the distance. I believed in him, but for now, I had no proof that Daru had been able to crack the complicated Amadeus system and delete every bit of data. It was possible that Special Forces teams from all around the world were converging on Akihabara right now. Imagining that made me want to hurry. Quickly. Go, quickly. I felt like praying as I watched the pale light surrounding the time machine. Kagari's cry went unanswered. She's got serious abandonment issues, I think. A bright light covered the time machine and it vanished from this world.
成功だ。
Kagari sobbed and glared at me with eyes full of hate.
どうして
Alright, you calm down.
どうしてママを行かせた
She shook away my hands and pointed the gun at my head. I stared her dead in the face.
君の素晴らしいママは鈴葉と一緒に世界をダメにしたバカな男を叱りに行ったんだ。この世界のためにとっても大事なことをしてきてくれるんだ。
嘘だ。ママも鈴葉お姉ちゃんもかがりを置き去りにしていったんだ。
Yeah, she is very focused on... That explains a lot though. That makes sense as to why, like, she just kind of never grew up in a way.
嘘じゃない。
Emotionally.
俺も君がもっと幸せな場所でまゆりと出会えるようにこれから頑張ってみる。だからもうやめにしような。
そんな話信じられない。
いや、君なら信じてくれるはずだ。だって俺は君が本当は誰でどんなに優しい人かよく知ってるから。
The gun barrel started to shake a little.
私を知ってる？
知ってる。俺は48時間後からタイムリープしてきたからな。
Kagari put her hand to her head as her body spasmed with pain.
神様の声が騙されるなって言ってる。お前は嘘つきな敵だって。殺してしまえばママのところへ帰れるようになるって。世界を破壊しようとする悪い奴は殺せって。それで私は元の世界へ戻れる。
Kagari wasn't making any sense. Was this brainwashing? Had the professor done something so cruel? I grabbed the flailing hand that held the gun and looked deeply into her eyes. She was crying and scared.
聞くんだ。ママはきっともう戻ってこない。でもこれから俺たちが頑張ればもしかしたらママも君も幸せな形で一緒に暮らせる世界が訪れるかもしれない。君のママはそのために時間を飛び越えていったんだ。そのママの気持ちを台無しにしちゃダメだ。君は今からでもやり直せる。
神様の声に逆らってもいい
あ、
The voice of God she was hearing was probably the professor's brainwashing. How far it had its claws sunk into her mind, I had no way to tell. But now we had Maho, a specialist in brain science. If we work hard at treatment, I'm sure she'll be okay. Ooh, I don't know about that.
ねえ、岡部さん、
Her voice was normal again.
ママに会いたいよ。会えるかな。
会えるさ。いつか。
よかった。
お、
I swear. I swear Kagari is just doomed to tragedy. Oh my god. There was another sudden gunshot. Kagari's body collapsed right in front of me. Oh my god, Moika, what the hell? I looked over at where it came from and saw another girl in a black motorcycle suit. She wasn't wearing a helmet, so I could tell it was Kiryu Moika pointing a gun at us. Her face was deathly pale and she was crying. Why? What's going on? Who is FB? Oh, did you turn the control of Moika over to Leskinen? Is that what Kagari was doing?
なんでお前がこんな。
It's ridiculous how, like, you know, our whole lab member thing, like, we keep adding people to it, right? But, like, does Moika really deserve a place on there still?
なんでだよ、桐生萌か。
Yeah, right?
FB ねえ FB 私あんな女になんか騙されなかった。こんなの偽物の携帯だって分かったよ。だからお願い私を見捨てないで FB
Okay, yeah, I still don't think we know what happened to Moika, right? Like, the reason why she's like this. The cell phone fell from her hands. And another shot from her gun blew it into fragments. I held Kagari in my arms. Her chest was turning red. There she is again.
おい、しっかりしろ。
よかった。神様の言う通りにしても間違うことあったんだ。自業自得ですよ。彼女の心を踏みにじって利用しようとしたから。
True, to that extent, it is poetic justice, but at the same time...
ごめんなさい。こんな子になるつもりじゃなかったの。
Oh. I was about to say that I found the whole, like, Kiryu Moika and Kagari's relationship to be kind of unnecessary, but that being said, this line breaks my heart. I didn't mean to grow up like this. That's why she was so... Like, she wanted to make sure that her mom is okay, but she was so ashamed of actually meeting her too.
ねえ、ママ、どこなの？
Her voice grew thinner. Kiryumoika collapsed some distance away. Her eyes were unfocused. All she did was mumble. She didn't seem capable of coherent thought. Both of them would be in danger if I didn't get them to a hospital. However, dozens of men in camel jumped over the fence on the roof out of nowhere. This is Stratford? Even Daru and Maho couldn't succeed in this short a time span. Or was this war line going to converge so that the war started here no matter what? No, but
無駄なんかじゃなかったさ。
if nothing else, they bought me time. And that had delayed the attack long enough for Suzuha and Mayuri to leave. That's right. In this instant, we'd already won. The way forward was still uncertain, but there was no doubt that the path to Steins Gate lay before me.
目標1ロスト。目標2、目標3もロスト。どうなってる？
The leader was talking on his radio. I could see attack helicopters in the sky. I heard that siren again.
ゲリラ攻撃情報。ゲリラ攻撃情報。当地域にゲリラ攻撃の可能性があります。屋内に避難し、テレビ、ラジオをつけてください。
The war was starting, just as I had thought. Even the time leap couldn't change that.
Rintaro じゃないか。
Ah, Laskinen. Pew pew. Laskinen appeared from behind the men in camo. That's right. He was a secret member of Stratfo, just like
なぜ
them.
ここに？
You're the worst. Go to hell.
かがりは死んだのかい？聞かせてくれ、リンタロ。タイムマシンはどこに？
I laid Kagari down on the ground and slowly rose back up. How's your leg, dude? Blood wouldn't stop coming out of the wound on my leg. The pain was getting worse. But even still, I stood up proud and strong. In front of the men with their guns. In front of the attack helicopter with its rocket launchers. In front of the professor. In front of the war that was about to begin. I laughed as loud as I could in that voice. Let's go.
よく聞け、間抜けどもめ。貴様らが手に入れようとしたタイムマシンはもうここにはない。この時代にはもう存在しないのだ。残念だったな。せいぜい悔しがるがいい。そして恐れるがいい。この法王院教魔は貴様らにも運命にも負けることはない。俺は必ずシュタインズゲートを見つけてみせる。
That's right. This was the beginning of the long, long epigraph necessary to reach Steins Gate. The definition of madness is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Einstein once said that when he despaired of human folly. But now I would gladly give myself over to that madness and folly. I would use every bit of dedication and obsession within me to seek the lone different outcome, which the laws of God could not reach.
それがこの俺の選択だ。
The choice of Steins Gate. Oh, I love it. Let's go. All right. Much like the original game, the true ending is still coming up. We still have more. We're not quite done yet. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Not long though. Oh, good times. I love that his name is Hoin Kyoma, right? It's, what does it stand? I need to look at the kanji for it. It's like, Phoenix something? Okabe Rintaro. Ah, Hoin Kyoma. So Hoin is like Phoenix. So it's like he's rising from the ashes again. It's incredible. It's good. It all circles back. Good stuff. All right. Let's go, true ending. Come on. Milky Way Crossing. Stardust.
因果は成立した。計画の最終段階について話そう。ダイバージェンスを変え、未知の世界線、シュタインズゲートへ到達する計画だ。ちなみに、シュタインズゲートと命名したのは俺だ。なぜシュタインズゲートなのかは、お前ならわかるはず。
Yes, of course.
特に意味はない。そうだろ。
2025 AD. The Future Gadgets Laboratory, aka the Lab. It was also the headquarters of the resistance organization Valkyrie. Once located in a room in a multi-purpose building in Akihabara, it had been moved to a new base after World War III. The place was far too filthy to really be called a lab, but it was, without a doubt, the home of the best minds in the world as they searched for a way to reach Steins Gate. In the center of the room, Okabe Rintaro was delivering a monologue, posing like a stage actor as his white coat flapped. Never change, Okarin. Never change.
お前が立っているその場所は、俺たちがクリスを助けたいと願ったからこそ到達できた瞬間なんだ。
Even with like proper lighting too, incredible.
俺の計画の下準備は完了した。あとはお前次第だ。最終ミッション、オペレーションスクルドの概要を説明する。
Operation Skewed. Operation School, the final mission to reach Steins Gate, entrusted by Okabe Rintaro in the year 2025 to himself in the year 2010. The parameters for the mission's success were as follows. Change the result of established events without changing the events themselves. Deceive the original Okabe Rintaro. Deceive the world. Skuld is the youngest of the three Norns, the goddesses of fate in Norse mythology. The three sisters tend to the world tree, which has roots in Skuld's fountain. Earth's fountain. Skuld specifically is the Norn of the future and also a Valkyrie.
確定した過去を変えずに結果を変えろ。
So this is the video that he sent himself. So that's what Ferris looks like in the future. She's still fancy even in a combat suit. Kurisu, aka Kiyazu Maho. What? Okay. Was staring at him, annoyed, from a distance away. Kurisu was Maho's codename in Valkyrie. Well, that's confusing, isn't it? Maho turned towards Hastaitaru, who was sitting right next to her.
ねえ、あれはあれでいいの？
多分ね。
Itaru was grinning. He was history's greatest super hacker, and he loved Hoinkyoma too much.
みんなと一緒にあれを見ることになる2010年の凛太郎は恥ずかしくないのかしら？
大丈夫。その頃はもっとすごかったから。
ああ、そう。
Maho sighed and shook her head. But even as she sighed, inside she was so sad that she felt her heart was going to burst. She probably wasn't the only one feeling that way. Itaru, Urusibara Ruka, and even Akiharu Miho, who was doing the filming, all seemed a little sad when they thought about what was to come.
最初のお前を騙せ。世界を騙せ。それがシュタインズゲートに到達するための選択だ。
And then Okabe walked toward the camera that Rumiho was holding. He'd insisted on standing away from the camera with his back turned to give it more atmosphere. So why was he walking toward it now? Maho sighed again. Okabe took the camera from Ferris and brought the lens up to his face. Oh, a close-up for dramatic effect. And then he said the final line.
健闘を祈るぞ。狂気のマッドサイエンティストよ。
I love it.
エル、
さ
夫妻、コングル。
Kanguru. And then he stopped the recording. And the video message to the past was complete. It had taken 15 years to get to this point. It was such a long time. And at the same time, it had felt so short.
はい、これでバッチリだにゃ。
よし。あとは D メールと一緒に過去へ送信。ルカ子、送り先とタイミングを間違えるなよ。
はい。今のは2010年の京馬さんの携帯アドレスへ。
Praise the VA too on Luca. Oh, he sounds more mature, but it's still very distinctively Lukako.
さっき撮ったイタルさんのムービーメールは2011年の鈴葉ちゃんへですね。
ああ、よろしく頼む。
Okabe came over to Maho and the others, his white lab coat flapping as he walked.
お疲れ様。
これで シュタインズゲートへの道筋はついた。今の俺にできるのはここまでだ。あとは2010年の俺次第といったところだな。
おう。
なんだ、ずいぶん暗いじゃないか。
だってやっぱりみんな不安だもの。タイムマシンの試作機でいきなり有人実験なんて。
Maho looked up at the huge time machine, unit number FG, Future Gadget C-193, behind them. It was almost the same shape as the C-204 model that had appeared in Akihabara in 2010, but it was still a prototype with many unstable parts.
大丈夫だ。俺は有能な右腕たちを信用してるからな。絶対に成功する。
I love this. I trust my talented right arms. All of them are right arms.
あなたが死ぬのは2025年。この世界線ではそれが確定している。だからって自分から死にに行くような真似は感心しないわ。
They'd had this debate 1,000 times before. Maho herself had thought she'd come to terms with it, but at the last minute, she found herself bringing it up again. Oh, is that why he became incapacitated?
確かに。俺はかつて鈴葉からそう言われた。2025年に死ぬと。あいつの話じゃマユリをかばって暴漢に刺されるんだったかな。今この場にマユリはいないが、世界線は収束する。だから俺は今年で死ぬものだとずっと思い込んできた。けどな。
Oh, there's the coat flap again. Okabe flipped his white lab coat up a little too dramatically and puts his hand to his chest.
それは必ずしも死の必然とは限らないんじゃないか。
Oh, he's got it down to an art, the whole deceive the world thing.
この俺が2025年にこの世界線から消えるという選択もまた死と同じ意味に解釈できると思ったんだ。
どういうこと？
This theory was new to Maho.
つまり2025年に俺がこの世を去るというのは別に死ぬわけじゃなくて、記念すべきタイムマシン初号機に乗り別の時空間へと無事に旅立ったことを意味していたのだ。
ものすごいポジティブシンキングだわ。
でも仮説としてはありだろう。
I love it. I love this Okabe.
世界は騙せる。
Trick world linking each possibility. This is the Gmail that Okarin sent himself at the Kurisu ending.
別の世界線から届いたそのメッセ
Or
ージ
D
が
Rhine, rather.
俺に勇気を与えてくれた。これから俺がやろうとしているのはオペレーションスクルドの実証実験みたいなものでもあるんだ。
そう。確かにそうね。
But to Maho and the others, it was all the same. After 2025, Okabe Rintaro would be gone. He would never come back. He wasn't saying it, but he knew it too. He stared at each of his friends for a moment in turn, as if to help him memorize their faces. Most of the founding members of Valkyrie and the former members of the Future Gadgets Lab were there to see him go. Hastai Taru, Akiharu Miho, aka Ferris Nyanyan, Urushibara Ruka, Kiyazo Maho, and standing quietly in the back, Hasta Yuki. A 7-year-old Hasta Suzuha was hiding behind her legs.
みんな、今日まで 俺みたいな男によくついてきてくれた。だが神の摂理を相手にした戦いはまだ続く。次は2036年だな。それまでよろしく頼む。ワルキューレの健闘を祈る。
As she listened to Okabe's final goodbye, Maho tried her best to stop herself from crying. She couldn't cry here. She decided long ago that she'd keep hope in her heart as she watched him go.
よし、そろそろ逃げた人質を捕まえに行くか。
鈴葉のこともよろしくな。
任せろ。こいつに乗せてあるカーブラックホールのトレーサーがあればきっとうまくいくさ。
That was a special device that only the C-193 was equipped with. It was capable of tracing the space-time distortion continuity created by a curved black hole anywhere from 70 million years in the past to the future. Okay? You could call it a time machine tracker. It had been specifically designed to allow them to find another time machine. Of course, they had only one reason for making it: to find Shina Mayuri and Amane Suzuha, who'd gone beyond the space-time horizon on Tanabata in 2011. They guessed that when the battery on the C-204 failed, it had lost the ability to properly time travel. So after finding them with the C-193, Okabe would give them a spare battery and send them back to this time if possible. If possible, he'd go too. If they could do that, this mission would be 100% complete. But doing that with this prototype time machine would be extremely difficult. Okabe had to have known that. Perhaps he was thinking of sacrificing himself to send Mayuri and Suzuha back to this time.
じゃあ行くよ。
おう。
待ってください。
The last member of the Future Gadgets Lab, Shina Kagari, came running onto the floor.
カガリ、姿が見えないと思ったらどこへ行ってたの？
Wait. Huh?
ごめんなさい。これを取ってきたんです。
This is an adult Kagari, right? I have a lot of questions right now. One, what does she look like? And two, yeah, this must have been this must have been Kagari that we met like back in the time. It's not this game. This does not sound like Child Kagari. Does it sound like Child Kagari? It doesn't.
オカリンさん、持っていてください。お守り。
No way. Yeah. And she still has red. Who the F is this? Oh my god. Kagari handed him a faded green Upa keychain. So this is the Kagari who in the future received it from Mayuri, went back in time, lived, but did not change her face. Or, I mean, she could have gotten more plastic surgery and changed her back, even though I feel like in both instances of the Kagari who got a face change, she died, right? So this is a different world line then. Yeah, this is adult Kagari.
君の大切な宝物だろ。
はい。だからこそです。絶対に返してください。ママと一緒に。
分かった。必ず返すよ。必ずな。
Okabe took the keychain and gave everyone one final, firm handshake. Finally, he came to Maho.
元気で。
君もな、クリス。
I hate it. I'm sorry. I hate that her code name is Chris. I hate it.
いや、真帆。
ねえ。
ん？
シュタインズゲートは実在すると思う？まゆりさんが死ぬことなく、そしてクリスも犠牲にならない。そんな狭間の世界線が本当にあると思う？
It was the first time she'd asked that in 14 years, since the battle began on that year's Tanabata.
あるさ。絶対に。
Okabe Rintaro, Hoin Kyoma, answered her with a smile. But his smile seemed so sad that Maho couldn't help but cry. Maho didn't grow up.
泣くなよ。
泣いてないわよ。
Oh. He got old and she still is tiny and looked like an elementary school student. I love it. Maho gave him a hug and swore to herself that she'd never forget his warmth and conviction.
いってらっしゃい。
Okabe nodded a little.
よし、全員下がれ。
I had a dream I was a monkey. I lived on an archipelago that had hippopotamus, poisonous snakes, and sharks. There were these giant manta rays that were like spiritual guides to the monkeys, and I went through a ritual passage into adulthood that involved killing. What? Hordian, are you okay? Welcome in. Happy Friday, but you sure you're fine? You good? You good, man? You good?
これよりオペレーションを開始する。なお、作戦名は
Are you renaming
オ
it?
ペレーションアルタイルとする。
Altair! And the one that... I don't remember. He shouted as if trying to raise his own spirits, not just everyone else's, and then he entered the cockpit of the FG C-193 time machine. Maho and the others quickly began the countdown sequence to start the time machine. Since this was a trial run too, they needed to record all the data they could get. A low roar enveloped the whole machine. The vibration and noise were so loud that the building shook a little. But as far as Maho could tell, the data was normal. The thick hatch of the time machine was slowly closing. Then there was a sharp sound of it sealing tight, cutting Okabe off from the rest of them forever.
うまくいくわよね。
大丈夫。京馬は必ずやり遂げるにゃ。
その通りです。不可能を可能にする人ですから。
ああ、それでこそ僕たちのオカリンなわけでね。
オカリンさん。
A rainbow-colored fog started to rise up around the machine. The sound of the engine grew so loud that it threatened to blow out their eardrums, and no one could hear a thing.
Okarin!
Itaru screamed, unable to hold back any longer.
お前の死が確定してるとか、んなことどうでもいい。やっぱここへ戻ってこい。
みんなずっと待ってるから。私も待ってるから。絶対に帰ってきなさい。
As they screamed, the machine started to fade away, and then just as he'd promised on that distant day, he followed the two Orihimes. With a blinding flash of light, the time machine took off from the year 2025, heading for a time far away, and disappeared.
宇宙に始まりはあるが、終わりはない。無限。星にもまた始まりはあるが、自らの力を持って滅びゆく。有限。英知を持つ者こそ、最も愚かであるのは、歴史からも読み取れる。海に生ける魚は、陸の世界を知らない。彼らが英知を持てば、それもまた滅びゆく。人間が光の速さを超えるのは、魚たちが陸で生活を始めるよりも滑稽。これはそんな神からの最後通告に抗った者たちによる執念のエピグラフ。
Wait. That's the ending? I mean, I guess we know how it all ended, right? Like, I guess we get it, but no, we've already went through that already. So this is the chapter after the ending already. That was the real ending chapter. The true end. There's more story in the anime? I heard about that. I heard like the anime is like an adaptation of the visual novel plus some more. The anime fills in the gaps, significant I'd say, not a huge amount more, but some key scenes that show what happened and some parts are cut off in the VN. There's the OVA. So there's so much content. Oh my god. Now go to the world that is still unseen. You get the impression that the visual novel kind of assumes that a reader/player knows about that. OVA in the Steins Gate timeline. Just like how the endings are different, have different word lines, so is the anime the final iteration. Oh, interesting. I won't say any more details to avoid spoilers, but the anime puts them together wonderfully in your opinion. I think I'm going to watch the anime 2.0 at least. Ugh. We finished the game. All right, hold on. I hear there may be tips that we read everything. Oh, they're missing tips. What? I'm not a completionist. This is not gonna happen. Oh boy, I don't know what to do now. Now I finished Steins Gate. You watch it in that order? Probably. That makes sense. Like to experience it in order, right? Clear list. We did all of them. Of course, Gehenna Stigma is Leskinen. 67 hours, holy crap. Oh, interesting. Kurisu was the light that goes on first and the light that ends last. No, that's okay. I don't really care. It's just two tips. I think we got all the CGs, right? Sound library, what is that? Oh, that's where I was at. Movie library. Interesting. August 13th, 2036. Upa tunes. I love little stuff that they do in here. Like, it's so cheeky. Oh my goodness. All right. I don't know what to do next, but I mean, I guess now I'm thinking about it. There's an official short story called The Distant Valhalla that's been made into a VN. You could play that. The Distant Valhalla. Let me Google it really quick. Yoen no Valhalla is a Steins Gate light novel set in an alpha attractor field. Where can I read it? Damn it, Steins Gate is a private community. Why, Reddit? Why must you do that? Yeah, I might. I'm just thinking because, you know, you guys probably saw on the news flash that, I'm, like, next week is probably the last week I'm gonna stream consistently, and then after that, I have no idea what the hell is gonna happen. So I probably only have 10-ish hours on stream. 2 to 3 hours the whole thing. Maybe we could do it in one sitting. Yeah, maybe we'll play that for one of the days. Because I do have a couple other things that I want to wrap up before I go on to the break. Maybe we'll do that. Can you link a YouTube video? Sure. Sure. Do you... I don't know if it will let you, but if you want to try, you could. Oh, that worked. Excellent. Yeah, I think if I can find where to get it, I'll play it. Was it translated? It must have been translated. It's only reading, so you can read it, just read it off YouTube. Gotcha. Yeah, I'll take a look as to what I can figure out and pull together for next week. It seems like something that I would like to play though. The VN adaptation is fan-made. I see. But it's entirely original text. Okay. Right. It's a light novel that got made into a VN in that way. Okay. Yeah, I'll do some research off stream and hopefully we can make it happen. I do think though, perhaps on Monday, it won't be this. Actually, I don't know. I still need to finish, what is it called? Citizen Sleeper. So that needs to happen at some point. I do have Monday off as well, so perhaps on Monday I'll play that, but like, you know, maybe, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen, you guys. I don't know what. So I know I will. So next week is gonna be something like Citizen Sleeper, and then